Where's Waldo? Hi, is Kanousha's voice goofed again? It is. Why do you hate me? Can't ouch. Sounds like the Microsoft voice. I haven't even been here uke buttons. Kanush has abandoned me again. Turned it off and back on. Are you there, Kanush? Narb. Amazing. Is it possible to learn this power? No, it's pure chaos. I feel the warp overtaking me. It is a good pain. At Popig 42D.
Hello, hi, how you doing? My name is Waldo, and I'm here to feel the politics with you. How are you? How's everybody doing today? We have the same problem I always have. is that our Lord and Savior Lady Canooch is not here today. Uh, she's not here.
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
See, that's not her.
Every time you say Kanush, all you hear is MC Hammer.
Right. She should be here, and she's not. I took a vacation. She left. She didn't say when she was coming back. She didn't say if she's coming back. Uh, she has just kind of abandoned us, and that's she's fickle. Canute, the fickle mistress. That's how she is. It's how she always is. It's it's, it's a complicated relationship that she and I have. It's not a good time. But it is some when she's here, it's good. It's kind of a
We thought
complicated.
Hawaii or Texas was going to leave us, but really it was Kanush we should have been worried about.
It's true. We should have been worried about Canooch. We were looking outward, and we should have been looking inward into our own house. But Canooch is gone, and when she's here, it's good. When she's gone, not as good. Maybe she'll come back to us. Maybe. I'm not entirely sure though, because I don't know where she is or where she goes. Uh, I have no idea what happens to her or where she goes when
A
she's
house
on
divided
vacation.
against Kanush cannot stand.
uh, excellent point. Excellent point. Um, so I am going to pop into the little stream channel here, and Thomas will be on the stream in just a moment. One sec. Hello, there he is. How you doing?
Da-na-na-na.
Oh, you're so loud. Okay, say hello.
I'm sorry, I didn't know I was that loud.
Well, you're loud to me. Is he loud to everybody else? Could just be my volume on this little knob right here behind my head. But oh,
Thomas is so loud, but we like it.
he's so loud, but we like it. Okay, I'm gonna bring you down just a little bit.
There we go.
All right. Okay. So, how's it going?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Oh, I went to Vegas for a week. It was okay. I'm not allowed to win. There's some law of the universe that says I'm not allowed to
How
win.
much did you lose?
Oh,
Oh, I mean, I lost
well,
everything.
what were you playing?
Everything. Tried all over the place. Uh, Mostly slot machines. So my old lady she likes to run around and play slot machines, which is fine. But those all just turn. I put $20 into a slot machine and then it turns into zero. And
Yes, the slot machines are money
The law of the
disintegration
universe is
machines.
called
mhm.
probability and statistics.
Although,
and mhm,
the trick with slot machines is if you walk around, you got to find the ones that paid out, like 50 cents on the last time that someone cashed out, because that's somebody else whose money was disintegrated.
oh, I see.
And slot machines, according to law in certain states, do require a certain payout.
hmm
So you find who else has lost their ass on a slot machine first, and then you go in and take the required payout that they were
hmm
supposed to get.
hmm Sounds like a plan. Never
Yeah,
works for
slot
me.
Yeah.
machines have to have a payout schedule.
Right. But I'm always the one that misses out on it. Uh,
Yeah.
Generally. And then
But
I threw some dice, but again, I broke my own rules there as well. I never found a good table. What you want is pretty girls who are screaming "woo" at the top of their lungs. That that's how you know the dice are going to be hot. I never found a table with that. So uh, somehow they're better at dice. I don't know how. I don't know why, but they are.
huh,
And so that never happened.
Wait, you lost
you
money
should
at
learn
craps.
the rules for
Yeah,
blackjack.
I lose at blackjack. I lose at blackjack every time. Um,
Really,
yeah,
it's like the highest percentage other than
I know,
roulette,
and I
especially
and I
European
still
roulette.
lose. Like I'll double down on 11 to get a two. I'll uh, hit on a 14 to get 24. I'll ruin everything. It's law of nature that I'm not allowed to win anything. Not allowed
Very
to.
unfortunate.
It's okay. But I mean, I didn't lose anything that was difficult. I'm not going to miss rent or anything like that because of it. We saved up ahead of time, had everything planned out, ready to go.
Well, yeah, you were able to
Slots.
save up
The result
then
is at
then spend your
KBP
money.
24.
Right.
Sorry,
I mean,
keep trying. You lost 50 points.
I actually have a big pet peeve about that one song. It's the one like the guy is like, I
Gamble
work my
100.
ass off, but I
At
just can't
KBP
pay it though.
24 dice roll
And
result
the
6
dude's
you've
like
won
going
triple
out
the
to the
bet.
club. Like he's like, fuck my rent.
Right.
I
See,
hate that song.
KBP's gambling in chat, and he's doing a mediocre job. He's losing and winning at the same time. He won triple the bet. Look at this guy. If you want to be cool like KBP, you can hop into Kick Chat and gamble your points away. Every Kick Chat gives you 5 points, and every uh, slot roll costs 50 or something like that.
At KBP 24 has 6,939 points.
Look at all those points. You could be cool like him if you want to gamble your life away. Someday I'll make something of the points. I don't know what though. I don't know what I'll do with them, but at some point, maybe we'll do something silly with them. And KBP will be the winner because no one can beat him. No one can catch him. Let's see. Okay.
Gamble wow, good job at Popig 42. You win a bajillion points and are the best gambler.
What? This guy's hacking the system. Look at him. Those are illegitimate points, sir. How dare you? So yeah. Let me think. Did I do anything fun while I was there? Oh, dude, we went to the big sphere. Have you seen that thing? It's impressive to look at from far away. It's just a big round dome thing with a million billion lights on the outside of it, and then it plays lights, and sometimes it has a face on it that looks at you, and it had SpongeBob face on there. It was very nice. And then on the inside they play it's like a gigantic IMAX screen.
I've actually never been to Vegas.
Oh, okay. So yeah,
but there is a casino that's used to be walking distance from my old apartment. So
okay. So yeah, they've got the lights on the outside, and it looks like it's a giant screen, and then on the inside they have the giant IMAX screen, and they show you a movie, and the chairs rumble, and
that sounds like an amazing thing to see.
And then they blow air on you as you're. It's one of those IMAX movies, so it's like doing sweeping uh, visuals of like a mountain and stuff like that, and then it goes over the mountain, and it goes down the mountain and stuff like that, and it feels like you're moving, and then they blow cold air on you when you're flying over the cold mountain, and they blow warm air on you when you're over the desert and all that fun stuff. So that was a good time.
I've been on a few rides like that.
Yeah.
They're pretty neat.
Yeah, and then Area 51 was much better. So not the actual Area 51, like the touristy one in Vegas. It's called it's got the Omega Mart. It's very nice, very fun. You go in there and they've got this giant skull that they're shooting psychedelic lights onto, and it looks all neat. And then I went to the Omega Mart, and the Omega Mart's very neat. It's like aliens landed in the desert and they started a store, but they don't quite understand everything, and they're like selling things that don't make any sense. It's a lot like a Rick and Morty TV commercial. Remember interdimensional cable on Rick and Morty? It's a lot
I
like
hate Rick and Morty.
It's a lot like that, where they're selling things that don't make any sense and things that aren't quite right and that just off slightly.
I'm selling eye holes.
Yeah, eye holes. Yeah, it's very similar to that. So, and then you sneak in through you open the drink thing, and then there's a secret passage, and then you go into the secret passage, and you see all the Stranger Things type underworld that caused the aliens to be there and all that fun stuff. It's very neat. So it's very much like the Stranger Things show, or maybe like Lost or something like that. But you're going in there and you're walking around. It's a good time. I had a great time with it. And then after you go out of there, you can go to their fancy bar with their fancy drinks, and they got holograms set up, and they got fancy lights, and it's this gigantic tree thing that has lights,
hammered.
And then you can get hammered. Yeah. It's a whole thing. Had a good time there. And then they've got like blacklight mini golf upstairs and all kinds of fun stuff to do. And that was a good time, and I like things better.
I definitely have to do a Vegas trip someday.
Yeah, you got to go to Vegas, KVP. Very fun. It was raining the whole time, but I don't mind the rain.
Well, make our own
I might
Area
make that trip
51
next
with
year.
blackjack and hookers.
Yeah, they did. They made their own Area 51 blackjack and hookers. It was great.
Oh yeah.
So that was the thing. That was the why I didn't stream for a few days. Glad to be back. Did
Well,
anything important
I guess
happen while I was gone?
I guess it's a good time to say that I will not be here in April.
Not in April? Okay.
Yeah.
Programming note, no Thomas in April, January, February. Okay.
We
Cool.
missed you. There's lots to cover.
There's so much to talk about, KBP. It's true. All right. So I'm going to click the button to start
Thomas busy
the
committing tax
news.
fraud makes sense.
You hiding from the man? Is that what you're doing in April? You
Oh
refuse
no
to pay
no
your
no.
taxes, and so you're hiding. I'm onto you.
My sister is doing a study abroad program in Switzerland, and so as part of that, she has to visit a few different countries, and I'll be flying into Germany and staying a little while there, and then I'll go visit Switzerland,
I'd
and
like to
then
study a Swiss
I'll
broad.
go I'll go down to Rome and hang out there for a little bit.
Okay, cool. Popog would like to study a Swiss broad. I like it.
Don't blame you.
Anyway, just for that, I'm turning the text to speech off. Popog, you're not allowed to be funnier than me. Uh, this is what you get for being funnier than me. The Supreme Court wants no part of disqualifying Trump from the ballot. The justices spent Thursday's oral arguments looking for an off-ramp from kicking the former president out of the presidential race. So it seems like they're not going to do that.
I told you 2 weeks ago this was going to be a 9-0 decision against.
Yeah, I didn't think they would. But it's strange that, I mean, when I read the Constitution, it seems like they should. But they're not going to. Does that not describe legislation from the bench?
I don't think they should.
Okay. Are they not legislating from the bench in doing so? In not doing so?
No.
I listened
don't
to
think they are.
some of the oral arguments, Popog. Constitution says X. We decided not to do X because of the ramifications. Sounds like they're
Well,
legislating from the
not
bench.
really.
No?
No. The legislation from the bench typically is a positive response to something. So, like, for example, Roe v. Wade was legislation from the bench. That was, hey, everyone has to allow abortions to happen, right? That was something that's superseding the laws of a given state. However, this is a reading of the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is a ramifications thing. This is, can they justify, or does the Supreme Court think that the way they're reading the Constitution justifies disqualifying Trump from the ballot? And they're saying generally no. That's what the opinion's going to be. It's not going to be anything about the ramifications in the opinion. It's all going to be a legal argument.
Okay. If you say so. From Elena Kagan, I think the question you have to confront is why single states should decide who gets to be president of the United States. That's the ramification. That's what she's discussing. She didn't say, is this in the Constitution? What does it say in the Constitution? She says, why should a single state get to decide? She's discussing ramifications.
Well, isn't Kagan one of the liberal justices?
Yes.
Yeah. So
she's not being an originalist here.
She's making excuses for why she's about to rule in favor of.
So she's not being an originalist.
No, she's giving a soundbite.
Okay. Well, I mean, this is just one of the things that she said while she was up there. she's not. I mean, she's discussing it. Kagan is not an originalist. I agree. Popok, she's not. She never has been. I don't think she was. Um, but what I'm suggesting is originalism when it benefits us, and not originalism when it doesn't. That's vibes based, as usual. All politics is feelings, and we just vibe. We'll just choose when we want to be originalists, when we don't.
I
Uh,
disagree.
I mean,
But
but that it seems like that's what it seems to me like that's what we're doing. Is that not what we're doing?
no, I don't think there is a good argument for removing Trump from the ballot. I just don't.
That I read that 14th Amendment, and it seems like it applies to him. Is there a reason it doesn't apply to him? Is there a constitutional reason it doesn't apply to him? I don't think there is. And these people aren't discussing it. Uh,
Well, well, they are though. That's what the whole art the this the sound bites that have been provided from uh this article are not the arguments that are being made in court. Like this is not
this
giving you
is Justice Samuel Alito said while on the bench. We have been told that if what if Colorado did there is sustained, other states are going to retaliate, and they're going to potentially exclude other candidate from the ballot. He's talking ramifications. He's not discussing what's in the thing. He's saying, hey, what is going to happen after we make the decision? After we make the decision, other states are going to retaliate.
the Supreme Court does have to worry about setting precedents, yes.
Okay. Well,
But is this a situation where the precedent should be set? And I don't think it is.
then originalism doesn't mean anything. It's a worthless word that
What?
accomplishes nothing. Because the originalism would suggest that Donald Trump is ineligible. Popog is disagreeing with me, but
Not
I
really.
I read the thing, and it says this guy shouldn't be eligible, and that's originalism. Read it, apply it, the end. But now, instead of reading it and applying it, we're deciding, if we apply it, what will happen later? What will happen later is someone else will retaliate, so we can't apply it. That's not originalism. That's vibes based. That's determining, and I don't know if they're wrong to do so. I'm not saying that they're wrong to determine the that precedent like you suggested. I'm just saying it's not originalism. If the 14th
Yeah, no.
Amendment would be applied.
Even just like a straight reading of the section is it doesn't even apply to Trump in the first place. And then there's I mean, I'm a should person. Should Trump be able to run? Yes. Is my answer. Like,
Can I make a suggestion that you're probably not going to agree with?
sure.
A should person can't be an originalist.
I have said in the chat that I'm, or not in the chat, in my own disagreements channel that I'm not a hard originalist.
Okay.
No.
All right. Okay. Not a problem. I thought you were. Okay. I thought you were more towards that bent. But I don't think that you could be a I don't think you can be a should person and an originalist. I think that those are two different thought trains entirely. And you can't be on both. You can only be on one train at a time, is what I'm suggesting. Does So it seems like they are not going to get rid of him. Pobog's a hard originalist, if you know what I mean. uh, so it seems like they're not going to accept the Colorado decision, and they are going to make it to where he is on there, which is what I kind of expected to happen. I didn't expect it to go the other way. I just think it just smells like inconsistency to me. You know, the right wing justices tell me that they're originalists and they only go by the text. And then I'm looking here right at the text, and they're not agreeing with it.
Okay. I disagree with you that the text supports your argument, right? Like,
Okay. For what reason? The
a
officer
number of things.
office
There's the
issue?
officer versus office issue. We talked about that
Semantics.
before.
I think that's a
Also,
semantic, nonsensical argument.
excuse me. I don't know if you guys heard me burp, but
That's.
yeah.
Uh,
Um, so engage in an insurrection or rebellion. You have to decide, did Trump actually engage in these things?
he says he did.
You also have to engage. You also have to decide whether previously taken an oath to support the Constitution of the United States, like, even applies to Trump. And they actually have made this argument, and in the court system, as I understand, and there was some back and forth about that, because Trump is the only politician in like memory to have not previously taken an oath to support the Constitution before becoming president.
He took the presidential oath, which I think is a pretty good one. But that doesn't have the right word specifically. Again, semantics. So we can't uphold the Constitution because he wasn't exactly an officer, and we can't uphold the Constitution because he hadn't taken an oath that said support instead of defend.
Well, that is
Sounds like horseshit.
the nature of of legal arguments.
Right. Then they're poorly written, filled with
And that's
loopholes.
fine. That's fine. This is why I'm a should person and not a originalist person.
All right.
And I still think that in terms of should Trump be allowed to run? Yes.
Yeah, go fix the law. Good luck. Who fixes the laws, Popog? The Senate, who doesn't fucking do anything. They don't do anything. If you showed the Senate a giant flaming loophole in the law, they wouldn't do anything. They'd sit completely still and they'd freeze. This is why McConnell freezes, because he doesn't want to do anything. He doesn't want to take any actions. He doesn't want to move. He doesn't want to make any waves. They're scared. They're wieners. They don't want to make things better. The one loophole they found only applies to Trump.
Yes, because every other person that runs for president has been in Congress before.
Right. So it applies to them, but not him.
So it applies to them, but not him, because he was actually just a citizen that ran for president.
And because he's never taken... That sounds like such horseshit. It really does. I mean, I recognize that it's textual, and it's a strange loophole that nobody ever thought anybody would snake their way through.
I don't think that's a loophole at all, actually.
I think it's actually... of course it is. We can't apply the law to him because he wasn't a senator before.
Well, no, I think that is exactly what the original intent was, is that it was never supposed to be this elite ruling class of people that achieved the presidency. It was always meant to be a normal citizen is supposed to be able to become the president at some point.
Mm-hmm. But we can't apply the law to him.
So Trump is actually the first one who has actually achieved that, because our system is so fucked up.
And because the system is fucked up, we cannot apply the rules and laws to him. He is immune to them because of the poorly worded system that we have.
No, that's not. No.
That's what's happening. That's what I'm seeing.
I don't agree with the idea that this is a loophole at all, actually.
I mean, you just described it. He can't be held responsible because he didn't take an oath as a senator. If he had taken an oath previously as a senator, that was one of his lawyers was arguing because the man wasn't a senator. He had never taken this oath. He had never been an officer, which means had never been in. Which means this law does not apply to him because of the word officer. That's a loophole. If you're in there arguing the definition of the word officer and who is and isn't a member of an officer, then you're shooting loopholes, is what you're doing.
Well, not really. Well, first of all, just to be clear, we're talking past the point because I don't believe he engaged in insurrection.
He says it was an insurrection. He said it was. He blamed it on Nancy Pelosi, but he said, yes, it's an insurrection and Nancy Pelosi did it. He's a liar.
He's a dumbass.
Then he's a dumbass. Okay, great.
Trump wasn't my first pick, by the way. In case you forgot.
I know. But he's the guy we're stuck with. The way they wrote it created the oversight. Yeah, I think you're right.
And also, even though he's not my first pick, I still don't like. Even if DeSantis was still running, and DeSantis was my first pick, I still don't think Trump should have been disqualified.
Because it wasn't an insurrection.
Wasn't an insurrection. Wasn't and then even then, because we're talking past the point, is I don't think that the way that the Constitution is written applies to the Trump situation.
It's only for the Civil War. It was written for those Civil War, and it only applies to that.
Allowed to run. Yes.
All right. Well, it seems to me like he did the thing that it's describing, and it was an insurrection. And the state has the right to say, hey, you did this. We don't want you on our ballot. If there's an oversight other than a scrivener's error, the court cannot fix the oversight, and they do, then they would be legislating from the bench. Right, exactly. The system is complicated. I agree. I don't think it's a great system. It's the system we have, and we could make it better if we were all smart, intelligent people making rational decisions, but we're not any of those things. We are all biased towards our side and pulling towards our side. So nothing gets done, and the Senate is scared, full of wieners. We're not people. No, we're not people. We are not people. We are simply avatars.
We are corporations.
We are corporations. We are avatars specifically for our individual decided side. We are only sides. We are not people any longer. Let's see. What else happened in the news? So, to cap it off, he's probably going to be on the thing. That's fine. I'm on the fence whether or not he should be allowed. I think the state should have some sort of authority over who's on their damn ballot. And it seems like he's going to be, and the courts decided it. I'm glad they decided it, and this doesn't surprise me. It's kind of the way I always thought it would go. I'm only shooting holes and poking at the inconsistencies is all.
I mean, the inconsistencies are sound bites from a left-wing article, right? Like, these inconsistencies are not going to be present in the final decision.
If you say so.
I mean, we can read the final decision on stream, and then I can tell you
the
I
article
was right and you were wrong.
Yes, the article is. I mean, it's a direct quote from them. Are you suggesting that this is just them doing the semantic?
No, I'm
discussion
saying
that you and I have.
This kind of thing takes weeks and weeks, and these interviews are an hour long, and they're cherry picking little quotes from these different things.
Which are the important bits?
No. Everything is the important bits.
Well, we can't literally watch and read and recite the entire 2-hour thing every time we want to discuss it. So you have to summarize a little bit.
Well, hold on. Have you watched the whole trial?
I watched most of it, yeah. Over yesterday. It was incredibly boring.
Well, I get that, but it's often the boring bits that are the most important. So
But that doesn't mean I can't summarize them.
I get that, but the way that, like, I haven't watched the trial
Hmm.
because I already know what my opinion is.
Okay.
And if I watched the trial, I bet you that the important bits that I came up with would be different from the important bits that you've decided on, right? And we're just quoting this article from a guy that, or girl, I don't know who wrote it,
Hmm.
that that chose what their important bits were,
Okay.
right?
With the intent of discussing it with their audience or their debate partners. So yeah, I, I kind of get what you're saying, but I also don't think it matters. I mean, like, yeah, the boring bits can be important, but the important bits are the ones that get reported on. We kind of have to condense and report at some point, uh, and that's what I'm doing. And that's because that's feelings. All politics is feelings. uh, all right. So I think we've capped that off pretty well. Next up, what is next on the news? Let's see. Big, important, super big news. Special Counsel Robert Hur's report on Biden's classified documents is partisan and unprofessional. So, what happened? The special counsel decided not to press charges on uh, Joe Brandon. Are we upset by that?
No.
Okay, cool. Donald Trump is upset by this. The right wing is upset by this, and the special counsel is upset by this. Uh, he
Well,
has.
so the problem is that a lot of these people are operating under a preponderance of evidence,
Mhm.
whereas the special counsel's decision was made on beyond a reasonable doubt. Uh,
Right.
can Joe Biden be prosecuted beyond a reasonable doubt? No. Based on a preponderance of evidence, do I think that Joe Biden is a corrupt motherfucker? Yes. So, it's understandable that people that don't understand the distinction
Is he more?
would
Okay.
be upset.
I know I'm playing directly into the two-party system, but is he more or less corrupt than Donald Trump?
Oh, more.
More. That's
Yeah, yeah.
amazing. You're absolutely wrong. I mean, I like literally, factually wrong. Uh,
Sure.
uh
If you say so. But but the topic itself, and I don't really care about who is more corrupt.
that's
It's
politics, boss.
no, 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 no. No. In this case, we're talking about the decision to prosecute Joe Biden or
Right.
not,
Right.
right?
And the special counsel.
And why people are mad about it.
Uh-huh.
People are mad about it because, based on the preponderance of evidence, they think Joe Biden is guilty. And the
Right.
special counsel is saying, I cannot prove that beyond a reasonable doubt.
Because they started from an end point. I think in very typical Republican fashion, the Republicans all said he must be corrupt. We don't like him. We feel like he's a bad guy. That means he's guilty. And then they get they have to find something to be guilty about. So they go and they dig and they dig and they dig and they find something. Something that happens to a lot of people. Something that happens to hundreds of people within the White House over the past 20 years is they've misplaced documents. Everybody does it. Most of them work to make it better, which this special counsel found Joe Biden did. Some of his staff moved things to a different place, moved it into the wrong place. Someone pointed it out. They tried to make it better. The end. And because this special counsel is a Republican and a butthurt, angry Republican who started from the end, Joe Biden's a crook, I'm going to prove it. Then he worked backward from that point. And when he couldn't uh, prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt, he got butthurt. And he wrote, and a whiny, bitchy, complaining report about it. He did a political hit job. He did a smear campaign.
This was
This Robert Hur.
a person that was appointed by Merrick Garland, right?
Yes, because
And Merrick
that's because
Garland was
Democrats are less fucking
appointed by.
corrupt. Yes, the Democrat hired a bitchy right-wing partisan hack to attack the left-wing president because they're less corrupt than the Republicans. Republicans would have chosen their best friend ever who's going
So
to write
silly.
the most glowing recommendation they can. They hired Bill fucking Barr, who's going to cover their asses. While Merrick Garland hires the guy who's going to hammer them as hard as possible because they're less corrupt. Democrats are less
That's
corrupt
silly.
than
No,
Republicans. How it's blatant, it's right there in our faces. When Republicans
no.
get in trouble, they bring
Trump.
in Bill Barr, who's going to cover their asses. When Democrats get in trouble, they bring in a Republican who's going to hammer their asses because they're less corrupt.
No, Trump might do that, but it's obvious if you know that you can't be reasonably prosecuted for something to put your worst enemy against you, so that the thing is the most credible.
So it's
It's
most
great
credible.
strategy. It's
So Democrats are more
uh
credible. I see.
no, no. That's not what I said at
That's
all.
what you're saying. That's the point you're getting
No,
to. They're
I
more
am
credible.
saying that no. I'm saying that in strategy wise, it is smart to put your worst enemy in the position to be forced to have to exonerate you, or at least not prosecute you, right? This is a matter of strategy. It's the only person that I've ever seen that doesn't use this kind of strategy is Trump. Yes. To say that Republicans and Democrats are at a divide and Republicans are going to be the ones that appoint their best friend to let them off the hook, whereas Democrats will appoint a Republican to attack them. No,
They are, and
that
they
is not
do,
the case.
and
That
they
is so
will.
silly.
That's how it's going to happen from now on. Donald Trump even said specifically that Obama appointed judges couldn't judge him. He uh, promises and dangles pardons for his people who do favors for him. The
Sorry,
report.
what?
What? Donald Trump dangles pardons for people who do him favors.
I literally just said Trump is the only
Yeah.
one I've seen who doesn't follow the
He is
correct
the
strategy.
Republican Party. He
No, he's
is
not.
the Republican
He is
Party.
absolutely not.
He is
No.
the future of the Republican Party, and the people who come after him in the Republican Party will be him.
No.
Vivek is already trying
I
his
am.
ass off to be him. I've
What
got a
are
story
Vivek's
later.
prospects right now?
I've got a
Nobody's
story
voting for
later
him.
about a lady who's running for Secretary of State. Spoiler for later in the show, who's just trying to be Trump. He is their future. They all want to be him. And they will
No,
all be him forever.
they don't.
They will ape him and they will copy
Hello,
him
I am a
for
Republican,
eternity.
and I
And
do not
you are
want to be
being left behind.
Trump.
You are a
Thank you.
dinosaur who is going to be left in the dust. They are leaving you behind. Didn't the fancy Republicans say that? Well, the Democrats say that.
So silly.
The Democrats left me
No.
behind. That's why I voted for Reagan. That was the thing that happened. That's my wild ass prediction. I know. Based purely on Biden's press conference in response to this report, the report is accurate. Entirely possible. The accurate, sure. Pissy and bitchy, also true. Written by a butthurt Robert Hur, yeah, I think so. I think he was. That's why it's partisan and unprofessional, because he didn't get what he wanted. He didn't accomplish the goal that he had set out to do. He had set his mind on Joe Brandon's definitely guilty, and we all know it. And then the normies who are hearing this stuff are watching Fox News thinking these things and have been told specifically that Joe Biden's the most corrupt person that's ever existed. And then when legally you can't prove it, it only proves that that's the cover up, maybe? I don't know. There's a weird juxtaposition That happens sometimes. I've
I
lost my
mean,
train of thought. Sorry.
you've got to be beyond a reasonable doubt to actually press the charges,
Mhm.
right? And he's saying, I can't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt.
Okay.
Like, if this was a civil court and the standard was preponderance of evidence, the same way that that was the case with Trump, the recent Trump trial that we discussed with the sexual assault allegations,
Mhm.
that those are a preponderance of evidence because it was a civil case.
Okay.
Whereas in the legal case, or rather not legal, the criminal case that was being investigated here can't be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. And that's the disconnect that people are having. That's all I'm saying is that people think that the preponderance of evidence shows a corruption on the part of Joe Biden. But it cannot be proven beyond a reasonable doubt, which is what the opinion says. And that's the long and short of it is people think he's guilty, but you can't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. Therefore, no prosecution done.
Okay. Great. Why do they think he's guilty? Because
the preponderance of evidence
because
says
the
he's
media
guilty.
told them he was. Because the right-wing media, the right wing is in charge of framing all narratives. They always have been. And
We've literally read nothing but leftist sources for all the
because I go
things
looking
there.
for them.
How can you tell me that the right wing is framing all these narratives?
Because they do.
Come
And they
on.
are. The normies don't get the good news the way I pick it out. Because I'm cherry picking, yes. I am looking at, I mean, reality has a well-known left-leaning bias. So
No, it
when
doesn't.
I
Stop.
go looking for reality, it happens to lean to the left. Uh, that's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for the Jesse
Gosh, that's weird.
Waters
When
telling me
I
horse
look
shit.
for reality, it leans to the right.
Yeah,
I
you're
wonder
not
why.
finding reality. Uh, the
Maybe I'm not finding your reality.
well, because the right wing frames it a certain way. But that's a different issue entirely. Which media sources to trust and things like that. I just liked that headline because I thought it led to my point, which was this whiny butthurt guy didn't get what he wanted, and the whiny butthurt people who are trolling me in the comments or watching Fox News are now confused and upset because they'd been told reality. Joe Biden's a crook. And now they're seeing legality. He can't be prosecuted. And it's causing a schism within their brain. The, they're upset by this. They've been told by the people they trust that he's absolutely a crook. Reality is
Well,
that he's
they should have been
not.
conditioned for this already with the 2016 fiasco.
The 2016 fiasco. What do you mean? With the fact that the
With Hillary's private server and whatnot, like
right, it's very
they had a
similar. I
situation
agree.
like, I mean, it is very similar. I also agree, and I actually do think that Hillary's private server was more prosecutable than uh, Joe Biden's classified documents.
I think you're right.
But I mean, people were pissed that she wasn't prosecuted, and then she lost, and everyone forgot about it.
Well,
So
they didn't forget entirely. Bobo's here. Hi, everybody. We're having
now it's a doggo
a
stream.
a Bobo break. Bobo, the baby bark boy. He's here. He's saying hello. He's got ears. If I don't bring him up at least once in the stream, everybody gets mad at me. So there he is.
Well,
Hello.
he comes on his own volition.
Yeah,
So,
he does have legs. He runs around as he goes, whoa, so far,
yeah.
so fast. KBP really likes him. Gets the numbers. Let's see. Popog, there's a non-trivial chance that Trump will be the future of the Republican Party. I think he will be. And then we will truly be fucked. You should theoretically be happy about that because it means removal of all fiscal responsibility in favor of populist support for social programs. The Trump party would just be parentism. Parentism is entirely incoherent. And I do think Trump is also incoherent. So maybe
Well,
they have something together.
I do think that the analog to Trump on the left is Bernie.
The only reason for that is because Bernie's a populist and Donald Trump is a pretend populist. He pretends to be a populist. He says a couple of populist things to get people riled, but then doesn't do any populism. But then does corporatism when he's in charge. Yeah, I think he's a fake populist. But we can research into that later. What else is on the headlines? Let's see. Ba-bam. Supreme Court says the Aloha spirit trumps the Second Amendment. So
I actually laughed when I read this article.
It is very strange, and I don't know what to make of this.
the Hawaii Supreme Court rejected the Second Amendment.
Right.
On the grounds of the Aloha spirit.
The Aloha spirit. Yeah. Federalism is over, you guys. Federalism, it's done. Texas is overriding it. Hawaii is overriding it. We're done with federalism. It's not a thing anymore. All states' rights all the time, forever, in eternity, apparently. A ruling from the Hawaii Supreme Court this week found that the Second Amendment does not override the spirit of aloha, a local principle that prioritizes the life force of Hawaii residents and reasserts a historic claim that states' rights courts and supersedes a freewheeling right to carry guns in public that degrades other constitutional rights. The ruling was unanimous. The spirit of aloha clashes with the federal mandate. Okay, sorry, I got to do a Hawaiian voice. This is gonna be super racist. Okay, let's see.
Oh God, we're getting canceled today, boys.
Canceled today, boys, for my Hawaiian voice. Okay, all right. I'm gonna put my head in the right space. Okay. The spirit of aloha clashes with the federal mandated lifestyle, brother, that lets citizens walk around with a deadly weapon during day-to-day activities. I'm trying to pretend to be a fat Hawaiian guy.
Actually pretty easy.
We hold that in Hawaii, there is no state constitutional right to carry a firearm in public, bruh.
Wait. You have to say this like Tito from Rocket Power.
I don't know who that is. The history of the Hawaii residence island does not include a society where armed people move about in the community to possibly combat the deadly aims of others. Brother. And then he quoted The Wire, which is probably not a good idea. Needs more Dakine, you're right. Dakine. Let's see if he's got... let's see. The smoothbore, muzzle-loaded, and powder ramrod muskets were not exactly useful to colonial-era mass murderers. Dakine, Shaka. And life is a bit different now. In a nation with a lot more people stretching to islands in the Pacific Ocean, regulations like storing powder, safely reporting with guns for militia musters, weapons inspections, the loyalty oaths are hardly helpful to address the contemporary gun violence. Yet these odd laws have historical and traditional roots, bruh. Democratically vetted laws through measures taken to today's citizens to save lives and mostly out of bounds. Okay. Anyway, so
own a musket for home defense.
I know
that's what the founding fathers intended.
Yeah, that's what they intended. So
4 ruffians break into my house. What the devil? Blow a golf ball sized hole through the first man. He's dead on the spot. Draw my pistol on the second man. Misses him entirely because it's smoothbore and nails the neighbor's dog.
And then you're you gotta have your what are those things? The bayonet. Then you bayonet him. Right?
I have to resort to the cannon mounted on the top of the stairs, loaded with grape shot. Tally ho, lads! The grape shot shreds 2 men in the blast. The sound and extra shrapnel set off car alarms. Fix bayonet, charge the last terrified
Your
rapscallion.
your kids are doing a bayonet charge. Yeah, it's great.
He bleeds out, waiting on the police to arrive, since triangular bayonet wounds are impossible to stitch up,
Triangular
just as
bayonet
the
wounds.
founding fathers
Yes.
intended.
Yes. I'm such an America boner right now. Uh, so this is I don't like this. This is silly. Um,
I agree.
I don't think that I like federalism. I do. I think that federalism is a thing that we should strive for. Um, if they're a state and they're a member of the union and they pay taxes and they vote for the president and they're under the same constitution and they use the same money and we respect their borders and language I don't care so much about. They have their own version of it. I don't care. And I recognize that they're not a normal state. They're not part of the contiguous part and we kind of colonialized them. I dig that. They should be following the same federal laws, right?
There are certain things I think should be federally um, federally universal is what I was about to say. I feel like that sounds like a stupid thing to say.
Okay.
That should be followed across the country.
Mhm.
So, like, in terms of your gun rights, I know that you're in favor of tightening legislation on guns. I am not so much, but I am in favor of having the same gun laws countrywide so that this guy, he had his license in Florida.
Mhm.
He went to Hawaii. He brought his gun with him
Mhm.
while he was hiking on the mountains. It sounds kind of silly that a person who has a license to carry a gun in one state can't go to another state and not have his gun with him.
I agree. And I think the handguns, I think, would be the thing that I would be all right with setting a federal kind of a control over, where you could take that with you. I'd say there's a lot less reason for him to have a hunting rifle in Hawaii. There's nothing to hunt there. There aren't any wild ass animals running around. If you're in upstate Montana, you might run into a moose. There are no mooses wandering the trail in Hawaii. There aren't any. So you have a lot less reason to have one there. Does that make sense? So they would that and I'm okay with the state making a law saying, hey, you can't just run around with your hunting rifle. The wild pigs uh, in Hawaii, there are pigs. I don't know that they're like boars that are out to fuck you up. I don't think that's quite the case. Um, the I could be wrong though. You can guarantee it. Okay, there are some, but I'm not sure it's quite as dangerous as like a moose or a mountain lion or some shit. Uh,
Whoa. I don't know. Have you seen Game of Thrones?
I've seen Game of Thrones. The guy
You know
did
how King
die
Robert died, right?
to a boar. I know, but he was drunk. Okay, on the Big
I mean,
Island. I didn't spend any time on the Big Island. That's true. Uh, the so uh, I like federalism. I think it's okay. I don't like that Hawaii would do this, but also at the same time, like I want them to have some states' rights, and I'm okay with them suggesting here's what we see, what we think, and then going through the court process to determine uh, what is and isn't federal and stuff like that. That's kind of how the system's supposed to work.
yes, and I do think that it's going to be determined that this guy was allowed to have his gun.
Yeah, and I
I
think
mean,
you're right, and I think that it will be
and
stomped down,
and
and I
this
think
is one
that's
of those
fine.
should things. Should he be allowed to have his gun? Yes, is
I'm
my opinion.
okay with that. He had a license, he had it registered. Great, he's allowed to have it. I'm okay with that. Um, so yeah, federalism is a thing that I think is good, and that's just the reason I brought this up is because of all the crazy federalist stuff that's going on in Texas right now, and now Hawaii's doing it too. So maybe we're all just maybe we're on the cusp of every state just saying no, we're not going to do that anymore, and then the federalism can go away. I don't think that's what's going to happen, but I don't know, maybe.
Doubtful.
Okay. I don't want that to happen. All right, what do we got? 1 in 6 more likely to vote with push from Taylor Swift.
No, they're not.
Well, the thing says they're more likely to vote. They were like, "Are you more likely to vote if Taylor Swift tells you to?" And then the answer was yes for 1 in 6 of them. I think that's that's how polls work. Uh, you say they're not?
Yeah, the answer was yes, but when push comes to shove, the people that will actually take the time to get up out of their house, drive over to the polling station, and actually cast a vote, if Taylor Swift tells them to, is a lot less than 15%. Also, I've read this article when you sent it to me. That 79% that said it doesn't make a difference,
Uh-huh.
that's not true. That 79%, if Taylor Swift was like, during the Super Bowl, she came on and was like, vote for Joe Biden. You know how many people would fucking roll their eyes and then go out and cast a vote against Joe Biden out of spite?
What
Is
if
way
she
more.
just says
Like,
register to vote and chooses not one person? Not the same thing. Well, that's kind of what they're asking here. More
No.
likely to vote if Swift or her boyfriend, Kansas City Chief tight end Travis Kelce, encouraged them to do so. Go get registered to vote. 1 in 6 people
But
said they
she
would.
is on record as being on the left.
She has endorsed Biden last time, yes, and she may do so again. But if she can, she could possibly do those at two different separate times. You know what I mean? On the big game tomorrow, she might look at the camera and say, "Go register to vote," and then next week she could say, "I'm voting for Joe Biden, so should you." So it's in the messaging. If she comes out just straight up, go register, here's how you do it, here's the website. Isn't that a good thing?
Sure. If
Okay.
the messaging is only, hi, we have an election coming up. Here's the link to register at your given state or whatever.
That's an acceptable message.
Absolutely.
Okay. It's not acceptable to choose one or the other.
In that event, I think it's perfectly acceptable, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. And when she does, what I'm saying is that the survey is not accurate.
Because the 79 will vote out of spite?
Did you see? I actually hope that she does endorse a candidate in the Super Bowl.
Oh, so do I.
Yeah. And
the reason
is because
it'll help that candidate.
It won't.
It will.
I'm telling you, it won't. And the reason is because everybody who watches that, who is an actual fan of the NFL, is going to roll their eyes and vote out of spite against whoever she endorses. Like,
no, she has fans. She is a persuasive person. You're a person who pays attention to politics.
She has fans, and she already influenced her fans last election cycle.
Mm-hmm. And it worked.
But, of course. But she is in non-friendly territory if she does that in an NFL space. Because look at what happened to Colin Kaepernick when he started making himself a political activist.
He got more endorsement deals and made more money.
No,
and
he
became
did not.
more famous. I'd never heard of him until then, boss. Listen, never heard his name before because I don't watch the NFL. But he became more famous.
He was blackballed from the NFL.
and made way more money in Nike ads
No, he
than
did
he ever
not.
had. He did a Nike ad after that paid him probably
No.
more than the NFL did.
The Nike ad, I'm pretty sure, came before he was abandoned by the NFL.
Before he was abandoned, sure. But it didn't happen until after he became
And
famous.
since then, he has tried to get back into the NFL, and nobody will take him.
Okay. And he's a player.
As a player, yes.
Okay.
He is a player.
Taylor Swift probably isn't an NFL player.
Uh-huh. So do you think that people would be more or less annoyed that a non-NFL player is trying to send a political message
Everything
during
is
an
political.
NFL game?
Literally everything's political.
No, it's not.
Everything. Top to bottom, beginning to end. Everything is political.
No.
Everywhere. All the things. Everything.
I've told you this before. You're too political.
No, everything is political. I'm just the only one that sees it. The fact that she would tell people to vote just by itself has irritated some people. If she comes out and just says, "Here's how you sign up. You should go vote," that's acceptable to some people. Would even say that that's unacceptable. And would those people
fine,
be on the left or the right?
But here's the more important thing is, as a fan of the NFL myself, if it's not about football, fuck off. That's me. Like, I want to watch football. I want to watch dudes fucking slam into each other and run the football and throw this fucking, this ball down the field. And I want to hear people talk about it. I don't want to hear people talk about any fucking other thing while I'm watching my football.
Okay, great. But it's going to be interrupted every 60 seconds for the biggest, most expensive ad buys in the world, selling you beer and chips and soda and anything that Pfizer, whatever's latest from Pfizer, is going to have 100 commercials. Cancer medication that you don't need. Cars, trucks. Are those political?
No, but
of course
you know what
are.
I call those?
Of course they are.
No, they're not. But you know what I call those?
What? Capitalism?
Bathroom breaks.
Bathroom breaks. Okay, great. Well, can you not just take a bathroom break when she starts to talk?
I certainly can.
Yeah, those corporations are backing a political party. Those corporations have a specific bit of politics involved.
But those corporations aren't coming on those advertisements and saying, "Hey, vote for Joe Biden."
No,
or,
they're
"Hey,
pushing morality, honestly. Have you seen a Ford commercial lately? You're a man, and a man needs a man's truck. So buy this Ford truck. It has 9,000 horsepowers and built with military-grade aluminum. They're pushing a morality
that's not morality.
on you. Well, of course it is.
That's not morality. That's playing on insecurity.
It's identity, then. Would you say it's identity politics, then?
Maybe.
Okay.
I definitely think that's playing on insecurity. You're a man.
Yeah.
If you're not driving a Ford, you're not a man.
You're not a man. And then come on. All alcohol commercials play on that same insecurity.
If you want to fuck bitches and get money, drink Corona.
Drink Corona. Look at you. Yeah, and so that's the political bit.
That's not political at all.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Everything's political, including that.
That's so silly. It's so silly to call that a political argument. I don't know what
it's not a political argument. It is political.
Or a political message. No.
Well, sure it is. It's identity politics. If you want to be cool.
Are you cool?
Yeah.
If you're cool, you drink Bud Light.
Right. Look at all these attractive, young, hot people who are drinking our products. Don't you want to be a part of them? That's politics, baby. That is politics.
It's not political at all. No. How could you be this politics brain? This is ridiculous.
Because that's what it is. It's
It's not.
politics. It is.
No.
Uh, and because I can see it from a mile away, I can dissect it and then determine what their message is. I mean, they're sending a message, aren't they?
The message is buy our product. You'll be cool if you do.
Right. And what makes you cool? The fact that you are a young, attractive white person. The fact that you are a man who needs to drive a large truck. The fact that you uh, need to buy our vape juice.
No, man. No.
Yeah.
This is
Everything's political.
not
Everywhere. All the
political.
things.
No,
All
no,
the
it's not.
things. Every commercial. Okay, so follow me here.
Oh, hold on. These these pitches that you're making, like
Hmm.
buy our vape juice or buy our beer, tell me how that is political. You buy our beer, you drink our beer, you're a cool guy.
By
How's that political?
the choices of the people that are in the ad. That's what I'm about to get to. If there is a ad for a let's say like an SUV, right? You watch the ad. There is a white man and a white woman sitting in the front seat. He's driving, she's in the passenger seat. Is that political?
Say it again.
It's just a regular ad. Has some music. Has a guy, a white man and a white woman in the driver's seat and the passenger seat driving the car. Is it political?
No.
Of course it is. Now, if there is a white man and a black woman in there, is it political?
No.
Of course it is. If there are two women and it's implied that they're married, is that political?
No.
Of course it is. All of those things are political. By normalizing or suggesting that one is normal and others are deviant, you are doing a political game. A lesbian couple on a TV commercial gets right-wing people angry. They scream about it. They scream about wokeism. Wokeism is everywhere. If the TV commercial comes on and it's a white man and a white woman driving a car, those people who complain about wokeism don't notice it. It is political. They simply don't notice it because that's the temperature that they like it. But if it's two women suggesting a lesbian couple, they all of a sudden say it's a woke commercial. Do they not do idiots online complain about wokeism and woke TV commercials? KBP gets it. Look at him. Lesbian couple goes for a road
Have
trip in a Ford pickup. It's political.
I'm not sure there's been a complaint about that, actually.
Well, you don't hang out in the terrible parts of the internet the way I do. Then, uh, every time this is why I make that stupid joke about there being two genders, male and political. There's two
Well,
types of marriage, straight and political. There are two races, white and political. There are two um, religions, Christian and political. And that's the joke that I make because when the people who really hate wokeism see a straight white couple, they don't see politics. When they see a gay couple, all of a sudden, political, politics, politics, there it is, there's the politics. But they don't know that the straight white couple is also political.
mm, I have to disagree with you.
Okay.
Um, so I've been playing this game a lot
Hmm.
lately. It's called Baldur's Gate
Heard of it,
3.
yes. Very
Yeah.
exciting.
Um, the fact that there is a black person in my party does not feel political to me. That's just how, like, that's just a fact.
Okay, great. Then black people showing up in media shouldn't be setting off alarm bells, and we shouldn't have entire YouTube channels based on finding the woke, right? But we do
Yeah,
have
I
that,
agree.
don't we? We do have that, don't we? Black Little Mermaid was just people screaming from the rooftops about how woke it is. Did you see the transgender guy that screamed about Starfield? Wokeism, transgender, current fucking day. I'll maybe I'll put some clips in there.
Turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Thanks for turning a frog gay. Your mom's wet hole. Very nice name too. I appreciate you
Well,
becoming a follower. You turned a frog gay. Hope you're happy. Anyway, we're talking about wokeism now. I hope I get eaten by a tiger. Thank you. That's nice. Um, I don't even see any tigers around here. That seems unlikely.
I am in terms of KVP's question. I'm just trying to decipher what it is exactly that Waldo is accusing the right of.
All politics is feelings, and all politics, everything is political, and all politics are based on feelings. That's what I'm getting towards. And the more I pay attention to the people, and the more I look at it, uh, the more it becomes obvious.
Well, okay. I like to separate things from politics because that's way better that way. I don't like when I'm trying to watch a sport, people from that sport coming up and being like, hey, by the way, here's my politics. Like, no, dude, fuck off. Go to the football.
I agree. It could get in the way. I agree. It can get in the way.
I don't think that everything is political or should be political. I think that's fucking annoying. And I will tell you that the way this started was the whole Taylor Swift thing.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you that if Taylor Swift decides to make a political statement of some kind
mm-hmm.
during the Super Bowl, I personally will find that fucking annoying.
Okay.
And I am more likely to vote against Taylor Swift's interests
Okay.
as a result. But
okay.
you already know how I'm going to vote. I'm voting
Yeah.
straight red.
I know. Is there any statement she could make that isn't political? Join the army. What if she said that? Is that not a political stance? She comes out and says, join the Navy.
Of
course that's political.
I actually would disagree with her on those statements.
Okay, great. Are they political statements?
No.
No. Join the army. Join the Navy. Support the country is not a political statement, according to you. I think it definitely is. I
don't think so at all.
I think everything's political, but
no, that's totally silly. How is that a political statement?
Because you're suggesting that is a virtue. Joining the army is a virtue. This is a good thing that ought to be done, and that army supports a country. That country being America, I can agree with the statement. Hell, even statements that I agree with can be political.
That's a lot of statements.
Even statements I agree with.
That's a lot of steps to get to the point where that's a political statement.
Well, no, it's not. Join the army. That's a political statement. Support our troops. Political statement. Sign up to vote. Not exactly, but slightly. Just 1%, because democracy is a fucking political system, right? So you're supporting the idea of democracy. Even things that I agree with are political, right? If she came out there and said vote Bernie, I'd be like, yeah, good job, high five. That's a political stance, and I can agree with it.
That would be a political statement if she came out and said vote Bernie.
Okay, what if
I
she
don't
said,
think it's a political statement for her to say join the army. No,
I don't think you know what the word political means. I think that
I
the
think that
word
you're too political.
political has been poisoned. I think the word political has been so thoroughly poisoned by, again, the framing of the right wing media
I
to
think
mean
that the
anything they don't
net.
like. Anything they
No,
don't like. They don't like
you.
lesbians, so they don't like, so it's political when you see two of them in a Ford ad. They do, in fact, like straight white couples, so when they see the straight white couple in the Ford ad, it's not political.
It may have been over a year ago now, but do you recall? And I forget what we were talking about actually, but you said I actually might be too political.
Well, I said I might be too political. I mean,
Yeah,
in the way that I was describing that was because I pay too much attention to it, and
I think it was
it
about
eats up a
education.
lot of my time. It eats up a lot of my time, and I spend so much time worrying about it and thinking
Not
about it.
everything is politics, dude.
Okay. I
Sometimes
I think everything
we
is.
just want to be entertained.
Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. Okay.
And when we just want to be entertained, when people bring politics into it, it's fucking annoying.
Yes. I'm not saying it's not. She could go out there and say things that I agree with. It would still be annoying. I agree. She could interrupt the game uh, to push a solid leftist message, and it would be annoying to me. I could agree with that. Is capitalism a political view? Asked KBP. I think so, yes.
It can be,
Okay.
but not always.
Okay. You and I disagree there. That's okay. We have talked about wokeism for quite a little while, and this wonderful thing is advertising for a capitalist system of political situation. I think so, KVP, but of course,
No.
I think everything is political. So, uh, and that's where
Is
we keep
advertising
bumping
for a
into.
capitalist system a well, so are you saying a capitalist system? Are you advertising and saying, "Hey, we should run this system in our government?" Or when you say advertising for a capitalist system, are you saying
A
buy
Coca-Cola commercial.
buy Coca-Cola?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Advertisements in a capitalist system. Correction. Okay, yeah, that's what
No, they
KVP
are
was looking
not
for.
political at all.
Okay. Um, I disagree completely. The Coca-Cola makes a commercial, right? They're going to have people in it. Those people are going to look a certain way. Those people are going to have to speak in they're going to have dialogue. That dialogue is run by a committee of people who want to hit the most customers as possible. And in
Economic
doing so,
systems and political systems are two separate things, in my opinion.
they're two sides of the same coin. They're the same thing.
Not really.
They're not two separate systems. They
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 are,
they
though.
can't be because you need money to pay the the people working in the government. They are part of an economic system. The the policies they can put in place could affect that economic system, obviously. So I think yeah that they are not even maybe even two sides of the same coin might still be a bad explanation. They're the
It is a
caduceus.
terrible
They're the two
explanation.
snakes. They're the two snakes on that stupid staff rod. You know, the caduceus with the two snakes. That's
No.
politics and capitalism. That's politics and
I still.
economy. I take it back. You don't have to be a capitalist. You could just be an economy. So the two snakes on the caduceus are politics and economy. They touch each
Well,
other.
can we
They
just make
spin
it more
around each
simple?
other. Yeah,
How
sure.
about one can affect the other?
Because they're so close together because they're intertwined they're touching all over the place, they're rubbing all up on each other, so yes, they can affect each other. I agree, and it's because they rub all up on each other.
Yeah, one can affect the other, but they're not the same thing.
They're not the same thing. I agree. They are
Okay.
two different things that
Well,
are
well then,
twisted
so we're
around
in
each other.
agreement that advertising or advertisements in a capitalist system are not political.
Oh, of course they are, because they touch
What?
it, so of course they are. They
They
are.
touch closely.
They
They're not the same
have
thing.
political.
Not the
The
same thing.
reason you're doing it is to make money, but the choice of who you put in that in front of that camera
Okay.
is a political
So
choice.
so that caduceus that you just described,
Mhm.
you described two snakes.
Mhm.
They touch each other in a lot of areas.
Mhm.
Are those two snakes the same snake?
From a certain vantage point, kind of. If one
Oh,
moves
come
left and
on. Don't
if
fucking
one moves
bullshit me.
left and the
The
other moves
answer is
left.
no. The
Mm,
two snakes are not the same snake.
no, they're two separate things that are so tightly
They are two
entwined
separate
that
things.
you can't separate them. Okay? You can't separate them. They're they're two separate snakes that have been tied so closely together they
That's
cannot be
fine.
pulled apart.
Yes.
If
One
one
of them
moves left,
moves
the
in a
other
way,
moves.
the other one moves in a similar way, but not always. They are still two separate entities, and that
Okay.
is so the economic system and the political system are separate things that, yes, are influenced by one another, but it's not political to make a capitalist decision.
I agree that you can make capitalist decisions that are not political.
Because a
Barely.
capitalist decision might influence something politically
Hmm.
doesn't make that capitalist decision political.
I think that's a very small amount of the time. I think most of the time, those capitalist decisions, if you're choosing who to put in front of a camera, that's a political decision. Do you put a white person there? Do you do a black person there? Do you put a straight couple? Do you put a gay couple?
No, those
are
are
political
entirely
decisions.
capitalist. And no, I disagree entirely. Actually, those are entirely capitalist positions.
Capitalist
Because
decisions.
the thought process is, if I put a black person on the camera, actually, let me go back a second.
Maybe a trans person could try and sell some beer.
If the thought is, hello, we already have a huge portion of white people who purchase our product.
Mhm.
And we want black people to purchase our product.
You're selling mayonnaise. Okay, great. You're Hellman's. You're selling mayonnaise, and you
Sure,
want.
we're Hellman's, we're selling mayonnaise.
Great.
White people already buy our product.
Lots
we want
of them.
Black people, we have, in the way that we feel, we've maximized our white demographic in terms of who is buying our product.
They
want
got
black
it.
people to buy our
They
product.
understand it. Got it. We would
Well,
like to branch out.
We want more people to buy our product. This is capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
We want more people buying our shit.
Mm-hmm.
So, how are we going to advertise this? We're not going to advertise this with a white person buying our product. They already buy our product. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
We can abandon that for a second and have a black person buying our product.
Mm-hmm.
And that way, maybe we capture some more of the black demographic.
And then maybe you change up
That's
the language.
not political.
That's 100% political, boss. 100%.
No.
Then you change up the language even, and put some cool words in there, and then you put it up on a channel that you don't put it on a Lifetime channel. You know, you choose the market, you choose the language, you choose the person in the commercial, and then that's identity politics. Is what you're describing.
People having identity does not imply identity politics.
Identity is a political discussion.
No.
Your identity is a political discussion. What you are and what you are not. What is identity, if not who you are and who you aren't?
So silly.
That's political. That's politics.
It's not.
Being any part of your entire identity is political. Yes.
No. So, why is it that men
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate the character of Sarah Connor in Terminator 1 or Ridley in Aliens.
Why would they appreciate her?
Like,
They have feelings towards her. Feelings, either of attraction or revulsion at how tough they are. You can have many different feelings about these things. Feelings.
no, how about she's just a good character?
You feel that way. Great. I feel like she's a because they're both crazy. I feel like they're they're very cool people. I feel like they're good characters. Great feelings. And if you extrapolate those feelings towards a identification about yourself, I love uh, Ridley and Sarah Connor, and you know who else is cool? All these badass ladies. I watched a movie and she was a total badass. I love it. Makes me feel good. It's part of my identity.
I am baffled right now.
I know because we're getting down deep, down deep. We're getting all up in there.
Well, maybe, but the idea that, first of all, I like Sarah Connor as a character,
Hmm.
but never in my life have I been attracted to Sarah Connor.
Okay. So you
Why
have.
do I like Sarah Connor as a character?
Why do you? I mean, because you have feelings. You are uh, a meat sack that is just filled with
Because she's a
chemicals
good
and
character
feelings. You feel
is
like
the
that way.
answer.
Okay, great. I agree. And if you extrapolate those feelings to an identity, you have entered the realm of politics. It is it's not directly
Oh,
voting for one
no.
side or the other, but you are entering that realm. You are beginning your political journey.
See, this is where we disagree, is that I don't think that extrapolation.
We're still 7 or 8 steps away from voting for Joe Biden, but yes, uh, you've entered the realm of politics. Once you become the identity, you can have feelings without politics. I agree. You can have feelings. Hey, I like this. Hey, I don't like this. I have this. This is funny. This made me laugh. But even then, why did it make you laugh? But liking things and not liking things, that is just feelings. Those feelings, once you identify them, comprehend what they are, and start attaching them to identities or other types of media. If you said, "Hey, I really like this Sarah Connor chick," and then I said to you, "Hey, you know who you know what you ought to do? You ought to watch Alien. That's got this uh, super cool broad who uh, does a lot of the same things." And now, why would I suggest that to you? Because it is similar. It is an analog. It is a very similar thing, and I recognize that it's a similar thing because I recognize the identities, because I recognize the very basics of politics.
I
And
I
I recognize
disagree,
identity.
and
Do you?
the point is, I don't think that everything is political.
Okay.
Like you even just said, it's like 8 steps from I should vote for Joe
Yes,
Biden.
it is. It is several steps away.
Not what I'm getting at is everything is not political, and you're saying everything is.
Mm-hmm.
I completely disagree. We can have advertisements that have all variety of people and couples and whatnot, that they don't have to be political. The real the
I think it's
problem is
impossible to
when it
avoid.
comes. Well, maybe
You
sometimes.
can minimize it. I agree. You could minimize it and get it down to like 1% political, but it's never zero. The only thing that I can think of, and I have thought about this, that isn't specifically political, is like hard math. But even then, are we on a 10-base system or a 16-base system? Do we use Roman numerals? Rome was kind of a country. Or do we use the Japanese numbers? You know, they got funky little slashes and dots and shit like that. If I chose to have all my math done in Japanese numerals, rather than Roman, is that not a political decision?
It depends on the platform from which you're doing that.
Okay.
If you're doing that as someone who is in Congress or the President of the United States, then of course that would be a political decision.
If
If you chose to do it from our stream right here, where you just started using Japanese numerical systems, no, I wouldn't call that political.
But what if I just wanted more Japanese people to watch? Is that not political? What if I put
No, that's
ad?
capitalist.
What if I put an ad on the side of a bus, but I put it in Chinese? I mean, I've seen ads. I'm a big city boy.
Did
I
you do
see
that
ads in Chinese.
Did you do that because you thought that more Chinese people would see it, and because they would see it, they'd appreciate the fact that it was in Chinese?
Yes,
Then it's a capitalist decision.
but not a political one.
No.
Okay. I disagree with you. I think it is a little bit political, just a little, just a little. It's not 100%. It's not making an entire YouTube stream and naming it after yourself and putting the word politics in there, but it is just a little political.
No, it's recognizing your audience and playing to that audience. If you think that Chinese people will buy your product more as a result of making your ad, or as a result of your ads being written in Chinese,
Mm-hmm.
guess what? If that's the case, you'd probably do it.
Okay, I agree. You would probably do it, but I'm suggesting that's a political move.
I don't think so at all.
Okay.
No.
And that's the end of the argument.
These
That's where we get
look,
to. I
these
mean,
corporations, they don't actually care, do
I know
they?
they don't. No, they don't.
Okay, so their move is capitalist in nature, not political.
Their aim is to make money, and by
Uh-huh.
comprehending the identity,
Okay, so when
comprehending the
Bud Light had,
politics,
I forget their name,
Dylan Mulvaney.
Dylan Mulvaney
Mhm.
as their spokesperson,
Mhm.
they thought they had a captive audience
Mhm.
and they were going to spread their influence, right?
Yes, they did that thing we were talking about with the Hellman's mayonnaise earlier. Yes, they did that.
Right. And it didn't work.
Well, there were a lot of people that were upset about it, right? And why were those people
So
upset?
they
Why
failed
were
to
those people upset?
recognize their audience.
No, why was their audience upset?
But the move they
Politics,
made,
baby.
hold on,
Politics.
the move they made was capitalist in nature.
Okay.
They thought they had a captive audience. They could pick up more audience, right? Or more purchasers of Bud Light by having this spokesperson
Mhm.
do this thing.
Because they looked at the identities, they looked at the politics. That was a political move by Bud Light.
No, it was not. That was a capitalist move, and it was a misstep because the politics didn't align.
They made a capitalist move by
Yes.
identifying a
A demographic
minority.
did not drink their beer.
Uh-huh.
The politics did not match up because the people that their current audience did not
Didn't
appreciate what they were doing.
the politics of that. They called it a political move. They said it was wokeism. They said this is our beer gone woke, making political choices.
Yeah.
Are they wrong in doing so? So Kid Rock shoots up a bunch of a few cases of Bud Light, because he's politically upset, but he shouldn't be because it was a capitalist move. Is that what you're suggesting?
I'm saying that politics and capitalism are separate from one another, or actually, politics and economic theory are separate from one another. I have agreed with you that politics and economic theory are intertwined while being separate.
Okay.
So, Bud Light fucked up because their audience was good old boys who don't like the whole transgender thing.
Politics.
Right.
Good old boys is an identity, and they don't like the transgender thing. Politics. They have political views, and just seeing someone on an ad that disagrees with their political views caused them to have a backlash towards this company. It's all politics. Everything is politics, man. You're only making me more convinced. You're only convincing me that everything is political.
No, it's not. The politics is separate from the capitalism. The capitalism said, hey, we have all of this demographic. The politics said, hey, the capitalism said, hey, we have all this demographic, we want this demographic. How can we do that? Well, we can make a decision. We can appeal to this demographic.
To their identities.
And
are they not appealing to the identity?
That's when
it became political?
It became political.
Okay, great. So it was a political ad.
They did this, and then people said, hey,
our politics don't align.
We're
upset. And that we don't like that. Yes. Everything is political. That's what you're telling me. You're telling me that everything is political. Even basic ads.
I'm not. Because, no, those ads were fuck you, were a capitalist decision to try to capture more market.
Yes.
But the politics of it in the first place are separate. It was, hey, these people are not buying Bud Light. I want them to buy Bud Light. I want to expand our demographic. Let's create an ad for that. People said, that doesn't align with my political view, and I no longer want to buy Bud Light. The decision itself was capitalist in nature, not political.
That one small decision, I would still say that's it was capitalist in nature. Yes. But how did they accomplish their capitalistic goal? By identifying an identity and then finding a spokesperson for that identity. That is so step one. All right, I'll give you that. Step one was capitalist. Step 2 through step 17 were all political. And had some version of political and increased more
step
and more and more
was
and more.
Capitalist, and from that point, everything was capitalist still.
No,
because
find someone of the identity.
I want to bring this demographic in to buying Bud Light.
Find their identity. Find one.
Therefore, how can I appeal to these people who are
Identify.
not buying Bud Light and making them buy Bud Light?
Identify with them. How do
That's
you
still a
identify with them?
capitalist decision.
That's politics,
How do
baby.
I
Identifying
identify
with
with
people
them?
is
You ticket?
literally politics.
All right,
Boss,
excuse me one
that's,
second. I have
yeah,
to use the bathroom really
that's
bad.
literally politics. Identifying with your constituency is what you're describing. Anyway, we're going to call it off right there. My name is Waldo. I love arguing the politics. If you're watching, if you're paying attention, press the subscribe button, press the thumbs up. I've been off for about a week, so what I'll do is I'll chop this up into little YouTube videos and then put it onto the YouTube right here. There's the YouTube link. If you have story ideas or things that you would like to discuss, you can go here to the Discord. Tell us what you're thinking. Tell us what you're feeling. Tell us how it goes. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. Tell us what to talk about and things like that. If you're a cool guy, you can hop into the Kick Chat and play slots, or every time you chat in the Kick Chat, you get 5 points, and then you can use the 5 points to play the slot machine. Very fun, very exciting. My name is Waldo. I am generally a left-leaning person. Thomas is on the right and more of a conservative type person. That's why we like to talk to him. That's why we are the better debate bros. And if you don't agree, we'll debate you about it. So that is the entire idea for the stream. We just talk about the stuff, we argue, we look at the news and the politics, and then tell you what we're feeling. And that has been my ethos, maybe, is that everything is political and politics are all based on feelings. That has been my conclusion that I've come to. Not conclusion, but almost like a what would you call that? Like a founding principle that I've been at for a little while now. So I'm going to get us ready for the next super cool story. It is very silly, and I want you to watch it because it is very silly. So that's it. That's the stream. That's the idea. I stream on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Then Monday and Wednesday nights, usually at about 7 o'clock, unless I'm a little bit late on Monday and Wednesday nights. Pacific time. West Coast is the best coast. So you should also definitely be on there. Let's see. Do I have any notes? Did I write anything down? Yeah, I covered all the important things. So we're going to talk about the Hunter. No, sorry, not Hunter. Tucker. Same word almost. Tucker interview with Putin here in just a minute.
Okay, I'm back.
It's not something that we
Sorry.
can watch live, but we can look at some of the highlights. Are you interested?
Hold on.
Okay, yeah. You want to cap this off?
One thing
Sure.
is the two of us
Mhm.
are looking at a caduceus.
Mhm.
I'll take that analogy. Fine.
Okay.
You are looking at the caduceus with two snakes intertwined on it
Mhm.
and saying, there's one snake. And I am looking at the caduceus and looking at it and saying, there are two.
That's fine if they're functionally inseparable and move together all the time. Might as well be one snake. They eat together, they sleep together. If one moves left, the other moves left. You cannot separate them.
But there are two there.
There are two that are functionally one. They are so enjoined and so tightly woven that they cannot be removed. And even doing so would ruin and reshape the entire planet.
Well, certainly
Might as well
would.
be one snake. Who cares?
That's exactly what I was saying.
I know.
I think that while the two are intertwined, decisions can be made by one snake that, yes, impact the other, but which are not the result of the other snake's decision.
And I think you're getting to that point because you like one snake and not the other. You like the economic snake and you hate the political snake. When I think that they're basically the same thing. Possibly because you're a capitalist who uses the stock market.
Well, that actually has not factored into my arguments at all. But yes, essentially, I view them as two different snakes, and yes, I do favor the economic snake.
Okay. I don't trust the economic snake. I think it's a bad idea. And we can go. We talk about that every week. Let's swap subjects slightly now. To let's see, what was the next story on the list? Because we've been on this one for a little bit. This is very silly, but I like it. I think it's funny. GOP Secretary of State candidate literally burns books in Twitter post. I don't suggest that you are a fan of this person. I'm not suggesting that you are, or would be. But she is silly, and this is the point I was trying to make earlier, that Trumpism is the future of the Republican Party. And she is doing what she's doing, not because it's good policy, but because it's a good show. Valentina Gomez, who said she believes books with LGBTQ plus themes are grooming kids, would oversee Missouri's public library system if she wins. She is running for Missouri Secretary of State. I know it's a small state thing. She's not a huge, giant national figure yet, but she would like to be. She blowtorched the books, falsely claimed the books with LGBTQ plus themes are indoctrinating and sexualizing children, and promised to preside over widespread efforts to remove books from public libraries if she wins a race. Her quote is, "This is what we can just watch it. How about we just watch it?" Here, come on, internet, you can do it. There you go. Let load. Come on, load. Come on. Come on. Come in.
This is what I will do to the grooming books when I become Secretary of State.
Let's go.
She got her little flamethrower, and she's burning the books.
These books come from Missouri Public Library.
I'm muting it so I don't get copyright struck for the fucking music. And then she puts a okay, boss, listen. How do you pause this horse shit? Pause when I fucking tell you to pause.
It's on the bottom left.
No, when it's paused, it starts itself up when I click on the thing, and then is this a political photo?
Yes.
Okay, I agree. Thank you.
She is running for office. Of course,
she's running for office, and the choices that she made on what to wear and what to hold are political choices. Yes. Okay. Great. So.
Well, I'm gonna put a link in. God, we're still discussing what is not political. I want you to pull the image that I link here in a second.
Okay.
Up on stream and tell me if it's political or not.
Okay. I probably just say yes. So if you're a fan of Valentina Gomez, you're one of these people. I'd love to show you a little clip from Family Guy. And it's a 35-second clip. Here we go. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but I'll turn the CC on. There we go.
I'll turn your stream on and I'll meet you.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've probably seen it. It's Family Guy, you know.
Try giving short, simple answers.
Mrs. Griffin, what do you plan to do about crime in our city?
A lot. Because that's what Jesus wants. 9/11 was bad.
I agree with that. What are your plans for cleaning up our environment?
9/11.
If there's anybody who is a Valentina Gomez fan right now, you're one of these people in the crowd. You are. Lois Griffin says 9/11. 9/11. Lois Griffin says 9/11, and the crowd cheers. If you're a Valentina Gomez fan, you're just one of these people. You're just one of these people.
Okay. No, see, I muted you in Discord so I could watch the clip you were playing, and then I unmuted you in Discord, and you were going, "You're one of these people."
Not you.
I was like, "Whoa!"
No, not Thomas. If you are a Valentina Gomez fan, if you watched her burn those books, you are one of the people in this crowd. You just are. She says 9/11, and then you clap, and that's the problem. The burn the LGBTQ crowd goes wild. Yeah, they just want the short, simple answers that don't mean anything. That she doesn't have a platform. She doesn't have a coherent ideology. She hasn't got a plan for how to make their lives better. All she has is a stunt. Burn the queer books. That's it. That's all she's got. She doesn't have a. She doesn't know how to write policy. She doesn't know how to draft laws. She has only stunts. And this is the future that the entire Republican Party will be a part of. I mean, I've suggested that Ron DeSantis did the same thing with the shipping the immigrants around. That's not a policy. It's not a plan to make the world better. It's not a thing that he would suggest we do to make immigration better. It's a stunt to make Twitter headlines. And I think that this is the direction that the entire Republican Party will be going. All of them. Forever. Well, not forever, but for the foreseeable future. They will have no plans. They will have no principles. They will have no ideas to make the world better. They will have no laws to draft. They won't have any written platforms. They'll just have Twitter stunts. Burn the books. Ship the immigrants. Put up a fence. That's all there is. And so earlier when I was discussing Donald Trump is the future of the Republican Party, that's the point I was trying to get to.
What I think is,
Please.
I think that what people on the right want is a return of standards. Can we have standards for people's behavior? And what are the consequences for violating those standards?
Well, they want to choose those standards. No more gay people, no more trans people, no intersex people, no NBs.
How about just don't loot our grocery stores?
We already have laws against that.
In red states we do. And then I mean, in California, if you walk into a store and you just walk out with whatever you want, nobody ever actually comes after you.
You're right. Oh man, the whole place is just a nightmarish hellscape. You're fear mongering right now. That is pretty typical Republican talking point.
No, actually, it's just true.
It's fear mongering.
In fact,
be afraid.
Own a car. I won't leave it in San Francisco unattended because it might be broken into.
Yes. You're afraid that it will be broken into. The fears are acceptable. It's acceptable to have fear. If you park your car in a dangerous place, you should be afraid that it will be have its thing broken and your stereo stolen. That makes sense. But if you build an entire political system and tell people that this is the fear and that this is what they need to be worried about, you're fear mongering at that point. If you build an entire media apparatus to point out exactly the things that go wrong, you're crossing the line. You're being very fear-mongery about it. I don't dispute the fact that those things happen. I'm suggesting that building an entire political movement against it is worrisome.
How is that worrisome?
Building an entire
movement. How is having
movement,
standards worrisome?
Standards are
And
fine.
consequences for those standards.
Standards are the opposite of freedom. Standards set by people who say, here's where the standards are and here's what you will do, is not very freedom oriented, is it? The people who want those standards would tell people what they can and can't wear. They would tell people who they can and can't marry, what religion is acceptable, and where it's acceptable. Standards are the opposite of freedom. I recognize that we need some standards. I'm okay with having laws. I'm okay with having consequences for breaking those laws, but make sure that the point of them is to prevent people losing their freedom.
Okay. Here I am coming out in favor of standards.
Mm-hmm.
There are standards. You don't fucking violate people's cars by
Great.
breaking their windows
That's a
and taking
law.
things from them.
I'm on board.
Except that we have not enforced that law.
They do
in
enforce
many
that law.
states.
You're
No, they
being
don't.
facetious. You're being over exaggerative. You're over exaggerating the lawlessness of California for a political effect.
What? No,
You're-
California is literally has like the highest number of car break-ins and porch piracy in the entire country.
Yes, it does. It also has the most people and the most stuff and the most money. I'm not saying that those aren't wrong. Do you have a plan to make those better? And if it's elect a Republican, they don't have a plan. They have only stunts. Do you have a
Here's the
plan to make those things
Plan
better?
is-
I'm on board with it listening to plans.
See,
Republicans
the
don't have
problem
any.
is that the problem is there are no consequences for committing these crimes right now. And the plan that I have is have consequences and enforce them.
We do that.
No,
If you're suggesting that,
we don't.
does California not have millions of people in jail? I think they do. I think they have a gigantic prison population. If you're suggesting that California is the land of the lawless and nobody, you can just break all the laws you want, you're fear mongering.
I'm not. I live in California.
Great.
And I know for a fact that if I had an older car and someone stole my catalytic converter, there would be no prosecution for it, even if I figured out who it was.
You've found out, you know who it was, you have solid evidence, you filed a police report, and they would just tell you to fuck off? That sounds unlikely.
Pretty much.
I don't believe you. I literally don't. I think that
Dude.
sounds unlikely.
Ring cams are a thing.
Uh-huh.
Porch pirates have been stealing shit for a minute, and none of them get prosecuted.
If I Google ring cam prosecutions, what do you think it'll come up with?
Sparse information.
Let's see. Oh, it's usually this is about suing ring cam.
Even worse
let's
than
see.
sparse.
Ring cam stops allowing police to request use of storm ballot. This is about the police who were using it. Swatting spree. All right. Ring cam prosecutions in California leads to ring cam camera video be used in court. A client may bring several versions of recorded evidence in varying formats for a ring security camera to proffer evidence in a court proceeding. These recordings may have been trimmed or converted in order to maximize compatibility. I don't think that that's the way the system's working. link me some things. Show me some evidence over the next week or so, and suggest to me that people are just ignoring the cops aren't doing their job. And if they are not doing their job, maybe we should reform them. Maybe we should set up a system that works better.
Well, the question might be, why are they not doing their job? And the reason is because even if they do, it doesn't work. If you catch somebody who broke into somebody's vehicle or somebody's house and stole something, and then the state prosecutor refuses to try the case, is your work worth the effort?
Depending on what it's for, I could imagine. I mean, we discussed that earlier today. They talked about how they can't prove it or anything like that. With Joe Biden. Sorry, I'm googling things. How many inmates are in California?
Why don't you Google some California store closures? Like, I'm pretty sure a Whole Foods was closed in San Francisco.
Oh, they lied about
And
that, boss. They fucking the stores that had to close because of the all the stealing. They were lying to you. They were capitalists who were lying about how much was being stolen. They exaggerated it by tenfold so that they could make their investors feel better about their poor performance. They were lying. Uh, the targets that had to close, yeah, that was a whole thing. Oh, we had to close because of all the shoplifting. And when somebody looked into it, they were lying. They just didn't sell as much.
gonna have to provide me with a link, and also I am inclined to believe that they were stolen from more in those locations.
They said that so that their investors wouldn't run off. Sure enough, shoplifting was not the reason for the closure of Target at Folsom and 13th Streets. They were lying when they said that. When Target announced they were closing the SF store in Soma, they blamed theft and organized retail crime. Turns out that Target had the least reported crime of any Target store in the entire Bay Area. The fuss was made when the Target announced in September they were closing their store in Folsom on 13th Street, among several other Target stores, with the explanation that we cannot continue operating these stores because of theft and organized retail crime are threatening the safety of our team and guests. And it seemed plausible enough because the Associated Press pointed out it was located under a busy overpass with homeless tents and largely commercial neighborhood with auto shops. And then CNBC's investigation showed that the crime at the Ballard Target was lower than at other stores in Seattle that the retailer chose to keep open. So it had lower crime than other places. The crime excuse suddenly seemed less plausible. Let's see. They found the same pattern where Target stores simultaneously closed in Portland, Seattle, New York City, all had significantly lower reported crime incidents than the ones that remained open.
Reported.
Yeah, CNBC analyzed reported crime incidents during the 32-month period between January 21st and September 23rd. Found that Folsom Street Target experienced only 84 reported crime incidents during that period. Meanwhile, Metron Target, which certainly gets hit by crime, had 486 such incidents, nearly 6 times as much crime. Yet it remains open. Meanwhile, the Target of the Stonestown had 123 crime incidents, and it too remains open. So was the crime excuse a publicity stunt meant to hide other unflattering metrics? Stunt. Hey, look, we were talking about stunts earlier. Our entire economy is all stunts now. We're all stunts all the time. So,
Hold on.
Mhm.
So, if a certain amount of crime happens at a Target, and you compare that to another Target that has 10 times the customer base, but let's say 6 times less the crime.
Mm-hmm.
The target with the more crime and less customer base or less profit is going to close. And just because another target has more crime happening at it, that doesn't mean that that target's going to close, because the customer base there is sufficient to support the fact that there's a degree more crime happening.
Then you don't get to go on CNN and scream about how lawless California is ruining your entire store. That's what they did. They screamed
Yes, it
about it.
does.
They said it was terrible
That's
and it's
not, they
ruining our
didn't.
stuff, and
No,
then they were wrong. They were
they
lying.
didn't. That's not the case. No. They closed those stores because the crime versus the profit margin was not worth it. In the spots that you are looking up in CNBC,
Mhm.
crime versus the profit margin, where the crime was
Yes,
a
it
lot
was
more,
less
they
less crime there,
also
but
had a greater demographic of people that were actually paying for things in order to keep the store open.
so it's not rampant crime that's the problem.
It is.
It's
It's
they
the
can't make
reason
enough
why Target is
profit.
not. What?
They're not making enough profit, and 1% of it is being lost because of crime.
Hold on. No, you've misunderstood entirely what I've been saying.
Okay. What?
Okay.
Okay.
Profit and loss, right? In one location, I have $10 million profit. It costs me $6 million to stock the store. I have $500,000 in loss from stealing. There are so many people buying from that store that the stealing doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's negligible,
Mm-hmm.
right?
You're still turning a profit. Okay.
Store number 2. It cost me that same $6 million to stock the store. I sell $6.3 million worth of goods. I'm making $300,000 profit. But I lose $1 million in stealing.
Was that the same as amount from the first store? Or was it less? Because in this situation, it was less. The store that
literally
closed.
doesn't matter.
Of course it does.
The decision was made on those kind of grounds.
Right. And the decision can be made. They can say, "Hey, we're not turning enough profit on this store. We're going to close the store." But
Or we're losing
investors
money.
hate that. So instead of telling the investors the truth, what they did was lie about how much was being stolen. And then they
Oh,
they
that's so
exaggerated their stolen numbers. They exaggerated their stolen numbers. They exaggerated the amount that was stolen from them. They exaggerated that number so that they wouldn't have to say we weren't turning a profit. Not our fault we weren't turning a profit.
That's
Don't
so
stop
silly.
being an investor. How is that
No,
silly? That's
stop.
literally what happened. That's literally what
No, it's
happened.
not.
It's
It's not at
exactly
all.
what happened. They've
No.
been found out to have been done that.
No.
They
Not
exaggerated
at all.
those numbers. The numbers that they used were exaggerated. And they did that so that they wouldn't lose stock prices, so that the stock wouldn't go down, so that the people wouldn't stop being investors. Because that's all that matters anymore. Truth, reality, and statistics no longer matter. We live in a
Totally
world that only
ridiculous.
cares about stock prices. Reality doesn't matter.
Everything you
Stock
have
price is
said
all that
is
matters.
absolutely absurd.
How is that absurd? It's
No.
the truth. It's
It's not at
it's what
all.
I keep
No,
running
it's
into.
not.
So why would they lie about that number? Why would they lie about the amount of things that were stolen? Why would they do that?
They're not.
They did. They literally exaggerated
That's
about it. They
that's why
increased
they're
that
closing
number.
those stores.
Target lied about crime to advance its legislative agenda.
Says who?
Says Ron Davis. I don't know who that is, but they
Well,
lied
fuck Ron
about the
Davis.
amount of crime. They lied about it. Let's see. A pattern we see in all the Target closures is there was another Target store within a short drive, perhaps even within walking distance. Target stores that remained open had higher crime rates, but were also in more affluent zip codes and had more foot traffic. So perhaps like Walgreens, they simply opened too many stores and were close to one another, and the stores cannibalized one another's business. That's bad for the stock price. They
No, it's
expanded too
not.
far. They extended too much, and then it couldn't contain itself. They weren't turning enough profit, so then they had to downsize. But downsizing makes the stockholders nervous, and by making them nervous, you would rather blame something else. If you had to give bad news to a investor, would you rather say, "Oh, we did bad business," or "The criminals of California are stealing from us"? The second one makes it seem like it's not your fault. We don't live in a fact-based reality anymore. We live in a investor shareholder price reality now. If it makes them happier, then that's the truth. If it makes them sad, then it can't be true. Or you'll find a way to lie about it. That's why I keep coming down so hard on them.
I don't think so. And also, KBP. The reason that it's always on Waldo to put up the evidence is because Waldo is the one making a positive claim.
Also, I'm the one with the mouse. I'm not demanding you provide evidence because I hardly ever do. Everything is feelings, as usual. Let's see. So yes, I'm the one typing the things into the thing. So like you mentioned earlier, yes, the left-leaning sources get picked in the morning when I go through there and look at them, and then sometimes that thing that appeared is the one that I chose because I'm driving the stream. KBP, don't be mean to Thomas. He can provide me with links, but it's a little bit difficult because of the way in which we've set the stream up.
And I have before.
Yeah, and you have
and
before, and
I
you
can
often
again.
do bring links when we know what we're going to talk about. But honestly, I didn't think we would be talking about this today, so even I didn't set this up properly.
That could be interesting.
Let's jump
I'd be
on
down for a Thomas-led stream.
to the next thing. Yeah, if you wanted to start a channel of your own, I would be subscribed to it, and then we could guest star on each other, and then you know what we would do is we would clip chimp each other, right? And we'd become evil rivals. Like who's that guy? Destiny and Vosh. You know, they hate each other and they just keep bashing each other, and then their audiences yell at each other. We could do that. It'll be fun. A little kayfabe, wrestling kind of thing.
That'd be too annoying. I don't like Vosh, and honestly, Destiny gets on my nerves too.
Right.
So,
but we could have that relationship. That could be us. If
I
you
don't
just
want
start
that.
your own YouTube video.
Waldo's my friend. Why?
Yeah, you're right.
Why would I want
Yeah, you're right.
to have this adversarial?
But it's a secret. It's not real. Let's see.
Oh.
I've got. Let's see, what time is it? It's 12:16. So last thing really is good old Tucker went and talked to Vladimir Putin. Did you watch this thing?
I did not. So this will be new for me.
It's not very good. So if you want me to, again, I know it's a 2-hour long thing, but I'm going to summarize. One, Tucker wanted to talk about wokeism and how the transes are ruining everything. Vladimir Putin didn't want to talk about that. He talked about alternate history. He gave there's a block in there where he just did not stop talking for 20 minutes about European history, and it was inaccurate, that European history. Shocking, I'm sure that'll be to you, that Vladimir Putin has a warped, distorted view on European history. I guess that's the tagline. Vladimir Putin doesn't actually know what happened uh, because he has spun it in political ways, obviously. Let's see. These are some of the key quotes I think was pretty good. Putin's quote: "It was they, meaning Ukraine, who started the war in 2014. Our goal is to stop this war, and we did not start the war in 2022. This is an attempt to stop it." He's wrong and a liar. They started the war. So Tucker didn't really push back on that so much. He kind of kissed his ass, rubbed his feet, and sucked his dick. It's kind of a thing. The only time he did push back was on one specific journalist who's been in jail in Russia, and he pushed back on that. But that's because journalists' favorite topic is journalism and journalists. The CNN does it all the time too. If a person dies, CNN is like, "Hey, yeah, a person died." But if a reporter dies, CNN is like, "This reporter died," and they talk about it for months. Tucker's no different. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm inclined to say that Russia has viewed Ukraine as sort of a vassal state for a long time. And the 2014 elections were seen as a departure from them being a vassal state, and Russia didn't like that.
Well, actually, no. The 2014 election solidified them as being a vassal state. Viktor Yanukovych was friendly with Moscow. Yeah, so Moscow friendly president. He wanted more involvement and wanted them to be closer to Moscow. The people then did not like that and literally rioted and chased him out of the country. And Putin suggests
You're reading that wrong.
that is the U.S. that pushed that.
You've read that entirely wrong.
How do you figure?
Sparked by the 2014 ouster of the Moscow-friendly president Viktor Yanukovych.
Mm-hmm. Amid mass anti-government demonstrations in Kiev. Yeah, Viktor got elected.
No. Viktor was ousted in 2014.
For being too close to Russia. That's what I'm saying.
And Russia responded by illegally annexing the Crimea region.
Right. Because that's what they wanted him to do. They wanted him to legally give it to them. That's what they wanted. That's what Putin wanted. That's what Russia wanted. Russia wanted Viktor to say, "Yeah, of course you can have that. That's yours, boss. Yes, you can have this. Legally. I'll sign the paperwork. I'm the president." That's what they wanted. They did not get it because the people did anti-government demonstrations and chased him out and ousted him and threw him out. And then they illegally took it anyway.
What? Hold on. I am so confused by what you're trying to say right now.
Mm-hmm.
Ukraine.
Yes.
Had a president.
He won legally the election. His name was Viktor Yanukovych.
No.
Yes, he won. This should say ousting.
No. Did Viktor Yanukovych actually win that election?
Yes, he won. He
Hold
was
on.
the legal president. I'm gonna look him up in the Wikipedia, just in case, but I'm quite sure that he won legally, properly. Fourth president of Ukraine from 2010 to 2014.
And he lost in 2014, right?
No, he won. They chased him out. They booted him. They did like a little revolution kind of thing to chase him out. I don't think he was removed properly, and he screams about how he was illegally removed by like a revolution kind of thing. Ran president 2004. On
Viktor
February 24th,
Yanukovych.
the new government issued a warrant for Yanukovych's arrest. The government said, "You need to be arrested," accusing him of being responsible for the killing of protesters. Yanukovych went into exile in Russia, claiming to still be the legitimate head of state. He left while still being, according to him, the legitimate head of state.
This is like Trump leaving the state or leaving the country and claiming to be the president.
Right,
Like,
but there was
hold
no
on a second.
right, but that didn't.
Yanukovych
Mhm.
was not voted as the president of Ukraine in 2014.
Did he lose in 14?
Yes. Petro Poroshenko was the president that was elected in 2014.
Okay, and then he said it was crooked or something.
Yanukovych is the one that was pro-Russia. So if you
Right,
go
that's
back
what I'm
to
saying.
the link that you just were showing me,
That's what I said a minute ago.
Yanukovych was the one that was pro-Russia.
That's what I
He
said.
was ousted.
Yes.
He lost.
That's what I said.
What do you mean that's what you said?
That's what I said, that he was pro-Russia.
Yes, he was.
Great. Do we agree?
He was ousted.
He was ousted. That's what I said too. I don't know what point you're arguing.
I don't know what point you're arguing.
He's
actually.
on Russia's side. He loves them. And he wanted to give the
And he's
country
gone.
of Ukraine away to Russia. He wanted to be friends with them, and in doing so, he was going to give Crimea to Russia.
No.
What do you mean, no? He loves Putin. He does what Putin says. Putin wants Crimea. He will say to Viktor Yanukovych, "Give it to me." And Viktor Yanukovych will say yes. But he was ousted before he could do so. And in response, Russia then took Crimea. They would rather, Vladimir Putin would rather have a lapdog president who gives it to him. But if he does not have a lapdog president who will give it to him and sign the paperwork, he will simply take it. That is what I'm suggesting of Vladimir Putin. Am I being crazy here?
I don't think that's what we were discussing in the first place.
That's the alternate history. That's what I'm saying.
Like, we were talking about Tucker Carlson
Interviewing
who
Putin.
started the war.
He's interviewing Putin. And Putin said alternate history, not real facts. fake facts, fake news, that it was Ukraine who started the war in 2014. He is a liar. Putin is a bad guy who lies. Suggesting that Ukraine started all these wars. They didn't. Russia started the wars. That's the only point I'm going towards. Putin bad.
Oh.
That's where I'm headed. Where are you headed?
I interpreted your argument a little differently.
Okay.
So, okay.
Putin bad liar. That's my point. Have you got a different point? Do you think Putin is a bad liar?
Nah.
No, he's not a bad liar, or he's a good liar, or
Whoa.
I don't know.
Hey,
I don't
I'm
know what
agreeing
we're
with you.
going at here. Is he a bad guy who lies a lot? That's maybe I should have said that. Is Putin a bad guy who lies a lot? I think so. Yes. Your opinion?
I agree with you.
Okay, great.
Is there any way that could be misinterpreted?
No. Okay, so Putin's quote: "We haven't achieved our aims yet because one of them is denazification. This means the prohibition of all kinds of neo-Nazi movements." He's suggesting, Mr. Putin, suggesting that he needs to go to war with Ukraine to get rid of all the Nazis in Ukraine. He is again a
That's fucking
liar.
bullshit.
That's bullshit because he is a liar. You see. Russian propagandists have repeatedly sought to portray Ukrainian President Zelensky as a neo-Nazi. Though he isn't, Putin has offered no proof to back his repeated claims that radical ultranationalist groups in Ukraine influence Zelensky or have a decisive voice in shaping the country's policies. So, the facts don't seem to align with what Vladimir Putin says. Surprise, surprise, I know. As soon as we pulled back our troops from Kiev. Okay, so this is another Putin quote. I gotta do a Russian accent. Oh, hang on. Can I do a Russian accent? Shit. Okay, Russian accent. As soon as we pulled back our troops from Kiev, Ukrainian negotiators immediately threw all of the agreements reached in Istanbul into the bin and got prepared for a long-standing armed confrontation with the help of the United States and its satellites in Europe. I can't do your Russian accent. Okay, I'm going to quit doing that. Anyway, that is again not a true statement. Russian and Ukrainian officials negotiated a tentative peace deal in Istanbul on March 22, a month after the start of the invasion, but it quickly collapsed. While Russia has portrayed the withdrawal of its troops from areas near Kiev as a sign of goodwill, the Kremlin clearly was forced to retreat due to heavy losses and logistical problems while trying to capture the Ukrainian capital. So they got blown up, and then they ran away. And then when they went to the negotiating table, they said, look, we pulled back. They didn't pull back, though. They retreated after losing. So, again, Putin's not a good guy. Putin's quote, "We haven't rejected negotiations." And it's true he hasn't rejected negotiations. I would agree to that. Let's see. I think it's the important part right here. Ukraine will need to accept the gains Russia has made. So they haven't rejected negotiations. They've just said we will not start negotiations until you give up. We get all of this land, and that is step one of negotiations. Until you accept that we get all of this land that we took from you, we will not negotiate. So they haven't exactly rejected negotiations. They're just doing it in a really bad way, I suppose. And then
I mean, yeah, they do kind of have the position of power here. Unfortunately, they have the manpower. They have the technology, and Ukraine is kind of fucked.
Oh, I don't think they are. I think they're winning.
I think they are.
They're winning.
No, they're not, though.
They
They've
are.
lost land, and the real answer is unless we move on Russia with actual force, then that land is lost by Ukraine.
Ukraine is doing that. They're forcibly taking that stuff back with our guns. And Russia is ignoring reality. Vladimir Putin, the alt history fan that he is, has lied about how the things went down. He has lied about European history. He is changing it to make himself seem more reasonable, and he isn't. And he's refusing to accept the fact that he's invading a country. He's suggesting that it's some sort of defensive maneuver on his part. He's seized land and is claiming to be defensive. I mean, that's offensive, you know? Ukraine is winning. They're taking back they've taken back a lot of it. They haven't finished taking it back yet, but they want more from America, and I think we ought to give it to them.
Wait. What?
What? We ought to give it to them. Weapons and
in terms
defensive.
of our support to
yeah.
Ukraine.
Support Ukraine. Yes. We made a deal with them back in the 80s. When the Soviet Union fell apart, they had nuclear weapons in Ukraine. And we convinced them. Our statesmen, I know, diplomacy, suggested that, hey, you don't want those. We don't want you to have those. Give them to us. We will get rid of them, and we will defend you from Russia. It's the deal we made with them back in the 80s. And now it's happening. We should honor that deal. That's how diplomacy works. And there are only two options, diplomacy and war. That's all there is. There's no third option.
This ends in borders being redrawn and then calling it a win for both sides.
I wouldn't surprise me if some of the land that Russia has taken, they keep. Wouldn't surprise me. The Ukrainians don't want that, but if at some point it gets so bogged down that they cannot get them out, that might happen. That's a bad thing, though. Will Russia not just do the same thing 20 years from now?
Oh, they probably will.
I think that's a bad thing. I don't think we should allow them to do such a thing. Next time it'll be a few hundred miles out of Hungary, and then they'll snag 100 miles from this country, and then they'll snag a couple miles from that country. That's a bad thing. This seems like a thing that we should not allow.
I mean, I agree.
Okay.
But it goes straight back. It goes straight back to standards. Like, how is a country supposed to behave?
Sure, and
should we enforce those standards?
Right. If they're doing things incorrectly, there are two options that I can see in the diplomacy or war. Either we suggest to them, hey, you shouldn't be doing that, and we're going to cut off our diplomatic ties with you, or we're going to cut you out of these markets, or there's some sort of economical downside to you not being following those standards, or violence. That's where the war comes in. So if I'm discussing or talking about diplomacy versus war, that's the idea that I get. I don't see any third option. KBP suggests a cuddle puddle, but KBP, a cuddle puddle is just diplomacy.
So, if Canada took Maine, would we be okay with it? I would hope not.
Well,
but also, Maine is part of us.
Right. Well, we would have two options, right? Is there a third one that I'm not thinking of? It's entirely possible that something I haven't thought about.
No.
We cut Canada off from...
The reason that there's sort of a gray area is because Ukraine is not us. So, do we allow Russia to take Ukraine? Right? Is the question. And for me, the answer is no. Overall, if you compare Ukraine to Maine, it's like, excuse me, hold on. Maine is us.
Yeah, we have
Whereas
more an
Ukraine is not.
interest. Yeah, we have more
Right.
interest in Maine than the Donbass. Not a surprise. The United States is far more interested in Maine than it is the Donbass. That's not a surprise. Every country is going to be exactly like that. And guess what? Ukraine cares more about the Donbass than they do Maine. And that's okay. Every country
And then
is.
there's the question of would we redraw the border? The answer is no. Except the problem is that Ukraine is not really a first party in its own territory. Like, sorry to say, but you've got a superpower in the United States, a superpower in Russia, a superpower in China. Ukraine is a minor power.
Smaller player. Yeah, I would agree with that.
When Russia infringes upon Ukraine's area, they're kind of fucked. Like,
Unless we can
yes,
help them, which we have been so far.
unless we can help them, which we have, but they're still fucked unless we directly engage with Russia over this conflict. And the problem is that when we do that, if we do that, which we won't, but if or when we do that, we invite a much greater conflict.
Mhm. And that
Like-
is that's the thing we have to weigh is how much do we give to them? It costs us to supply Ukraine, obviously, and is it too much? Are we bankrupting ourselves to help Ukraine? And then what does Russia do anyway? And if are they going to start firing nukes and stuff like that? So all very complicated questions and very difficult things to answer. But that's global politics, baby. Yeah, and KBP, you're right. It could set off a chain reaction. They take Crimea, then they take the Donbass, then they take the central Ukraine, then they take the rest of Ukraine, then they start making moves into Poland. That's a thing I would like to avoid.
War it is. World War III, let's go.
Right. Can we diplomatically prevent that? Is there a way to do that? I think there might be. Hopefully. I hope we try that first.
That's what I think, is that Ukraine still exists with a lower area, and Ukraine gains a little bit of area. Or
Russia gains a
little bit of
larger
area.
country. Okay. They don't have enough land mass already? All right.
Oh, they have plenty. Just most of it's not livable.
I know.
Diplomatic solution to this is Russia gains a little area and Ukraine loses a little. But they're pretty fucked in Ukraine, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I think they're winning, and hopefully they continue to win, and hopefully they don't lose much. That's my hope, anyway. What was his name? Tucker went and interviewed Putin, and that's kind of how it went. Tucker wanted to talk about wokeism, and Putin just wanted to talk about alternate history. And the two of them kind of talked past each other. And Tucker was like, "Oh yeah, don't you hate how these wokies are ruining the entire country?" And then he's like giving a 20-minute lecture on what actually started the war in 1984. And you're like, okay, what? So yeah, should Tucker be allowed to interview an adversary?
Sure.
Okay,
Why not?
I agree. I think it's fine. I think it's fine that anybody could interview him. They chose him because he's the furthest to the right and the most likely to agree with them, I think.
I don't think that Tucker agrees with Russia at all.
Oh, I think he does. I think
that Tucker agrees with a lot of Russia's politics, or not politics, but culture.
right. I think I agree with that.
And maybe is inclined more to listen to the politics that have shaped that culture.
Right.
But if you ask Tucker, do you want Vladimir Putin to be the president of the United States? I don't think he would say yes.
No, I don't think he
Just
would
for
say
that.
yes to that either. Does he want the culture of Russia in America? Of course he does. Does he want American culture to reflect the Russian culture? And he would say yes, probably. And
Maybe.
I don't think that's a good idea. Not a whole lot of freedom going on over there in Russia. You know what I mean? He wants it to be more Christian. Yeah, you're right. But uh, I don't think that's a thing that we ought to be working towards. I don't think is Tucker right wing even?
Yeah, theoretically.
Okay, I think the reason I'm asking is one, yes, he spouts those ideas, but I think that maybe he's just a capitalist who says what he's paid to
Well,
say.
hold on.
Is he a true believer,
In
or is
terms
he
of
just saying what he's paid to say?
your country, do you think that religion is generally a bad or a good thing for a country?
I think most religions are a bad thing. Emo
Interesting.
Waldo's in chat. Yep, there he is. Good
I
old
think
Emo
that
Waldo. There he
religion
is.
is generally a good thing.
Oh, okay. Well, I think it's a bad thing. It's anti-freedom. It's anti-thought. It's belief rather than thinking. Uh, the more time you spend believing, the less time you spend thinking, and the more time you spend thinking, the less time you spend believing. It's almost like you can't if you do both, it turns you to a centrist, and nobody trusts them.
Well, it sort of goes into what we believe in for standards, right? Like, don't kill people, don't steal from people,
Great. Those things both
right?
harm a person's freedom.
They certainly do. And in terms of religion, religion says, hey, if you do those things, you're fucked because you're going to burn for eternity if you do them.
Hmm.
It provides a personal consequence.
It creates a belief structure. And I don't have any beliefs. I don't think beliefs are a good idea. I don't think that beliefs are the way we ought to organize our lives. You ought to organize your life based on the thoughts and the evidence and the ideas that you can look at and substantiate.
Yeah, maybe if you're intelligent enough to put those thoughts together. I think
Then
religion is the tool for making sure that everyone follows those standards.
the opiate of the masses, great. And I mean, there's a
It's necessary.
it's necessary. I think that leads to a two-tiered kind of system, where you're intelligent, super smart guys like you and me base all our decisions off of the facts that we see, and we let all the proles and the peons and the unimportant the normies really just believe whatever they believe, um, and we'll tell them what to believe so that they can be convinced. We'll give them enough opiate they are the masses. We will give them the opiate, and that will push us to the direction we want to go. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't like that.
Why? Hold on.
I don't like
Why
that.
is it that some religions say don't eat pork?
You want the real reason?
Yeah, the real reason.
Because 2,000 years ago, pigs were filthy shit monsters that were filled with parasites, and it would kill
And
you.
we didn't know what temperature to cook them to.
Right. We didn't know how to do it
Don't
right.
fucking eat pork.
Right. Great. Don't eat it. It will kill
People were
you.
stupid,
People are stupid.
and it's, hey, by the way, if you eat pork, God will kill you.
Right. Well,
Right?
aren't they smarter
They
today?
understand that a lot better than, hey, if you don't cook pork to this temperature, you get this bacteria in your body,
Mm-hmm.
and then that bacteria will deteriorate you and kill you, right?
I have a supercomputer in my pocket. Like I can find these things out. We have
I
smarter
get
people
that.
today. We can
I
tell
get that.
them
But
that the reason
what
not
I'm
to eat it is better than the imaginary sky wizard will harm you.
religion is a great pocketbook, right? Like, doesn't have to be true. It's the pass down of the information that was designed for the lowest common denominator to understand.
I want to raise that lowest
Like,
common denominator up. I think our lowest common denominator today is so much better off than the person who couldn't eat meat 2,000 years ago, or couldn't eat pigs 2,000 years ago. I think they're so much smarter today than they were then. They comprehend
oh
stoves,
no,
ovens,
they're
bacteria.
just as stupid, but they have more access to information.
Right, great.
Is the thing.
Let's make them smarter. Let's educate them. Let's increase their knowledge. Let's make them well-informed people. And I don't think you well-inform. I don't think religion leads to well-informed people. And that's probably my entire and best argument against it. I don't think religion creates well-informed people. Can it control them? Yes. Can it describe a way for them to live? Yes. Can it make their lives better? Yes. But are they well-informed? No. If there were a religion which pushed left-wing ideas and it did so with an imaginary figure in the sky who's going to judge you poorly if you do not do the left-wing things, I still wouldn't like it. That's not a well-informed decision. That is a fear of hellfire pushing you to do left-wing things. If the fear of hellfire pushed people to vote left, I would say, hey, vote left because it's good, not because of the fucking hellfire.
And that's where we might disagree then, because I am a more nature and maybe you're a more nurture person then. Because I think that if the leftist position is correct, then what you just described is the right choice.
But for the wrong reason.
Like, so what?
I mean, so what? The reason matters. I love reason. It's great. I'm a reasonable person. I love the reasons that lead me to the conclusion. And if
people are too dumb to comprehend the reasons, then you give them a reason, whether it's reasonable or not, to make the right choice.
religious people aren't reasonable. An unreasonable reason is useless. Well,
No, it's not.
I don't think religious people are reasonable. They have beliefs.
They don't have to.
They don't have to be to vote a certain way. No, they don't have to be. But I would
Do
rather
religious
them be
people make
reasonable.
the right choice?
Do they make correct
Is the
choices?
question.
Sure. You can be a religious person and make a correct choice. Yes, you can. If uh, if your God says don't murder people, and you don't murder people, that is a correct choice. I'm all right with that. I'm not all right with it. I'm all right with the choice that they made. I'm not okay with the reason they didn't do it. I'm not murdering people because it would take away their freedom, and that is important to me.
And if they were not capable of the level of thought that says, why is this not the right choice? And their ultimate reasoning is, it's because God said it was the wrong thing to do.
That is an
Is that a net positive or negative for society that this person
it can still
has
be a
decided?
positive, yes. Yes, it can still be a positive. I'm all right with that being a positive. I'm not against calling that a positive thing. If thousands of murders a year are avoided because of a religion, that's a positive thing. I would still want to educate the people and make them more reasonable. If you absolutely showed me evidence that 10,000 murders didn't happen because they really didn't want to burn in hell, I would say, okay, that's nice, that's good, that's a positive. How do we make these people smarter? How do we make them more reasonable? How do we make them more intelligent?
And this might be the biggest disconnect between the two of us.
Okay.
Is I think that some people are just dumb, and some people are just average, and some people are just smart.
They're apt or inapt. Yeah, that was a term I think I was throwing around a while back because I was thinking the same thing. If they are,
and that's the fact. And for those people that are just dumb, they need religion to tell them, don't do this thing.
And that's the situation we've been in for a very long time. That is, you're describing history, and I think that it's a good description you're putting out here of what used to be the methods of control. But hopefully, maybe I would hope that we could get better, because there's an awful lot of people who do kill people for God as well. That's happened, right?
I understand that. That is a bad thing.
And even if the numbers are skewed, it maybe organized religion has saved more lives than it cost. I'm okay with that, even if that is the description that we go with. If we look at the numbers, we've figured it all out, we've mathed everything out, and organized religion saved more people than it killed. Still not a true system. It's still not true to me.
Doesn't have to be.
I know. Well, I want it to be.
Sometimes
I
there
think
are
those
just
people's
dumb
freedom.
people that need to not make wrong choices. And the only way we can tell them to not make those wrong choices is, hey, if you do make those wrong choices, you're going to burn for eternity.
Hellfire.
It will be painful. It's going to suck forever.
I think we are harming that person's freedom in doing so.
You know what?
And
it's
my feeling.
I don't agree.
I know.
I think that it is
That's
that
okay.
person's to violate that boundary we set. But the boundaries that are being set there are not that restrictive, realistically.
I agree.
Do not kill people. Oh, you've restricted my freedom to kill people. What the fuck? Are you kidding? No. Fuck you. You don't get to kill people.
I agree. And if that was the only thing that it was doing, if it were specifically telling them how to vote on gay marriage, I would be upset by that, wouldn't? And if it were taking part of their money and then funding it towards I don't know, giant jet planes like Kenneth Copeland, who flies around in a fucking private jet, he's taking their freedom away by taking their money, by telling them what they can and can't do, by suggesting what they can and can't wear, by suggesting these things. He's taking their freedom away. And yes, you're right. The overall good might be more than the overall bad, but it's still a reduction of freedom. And I have that one specific, that's my starting point. That is my axiom, I suppose, is freedom.
It's not mine.
I know,
I think
and that's why we keep coming to different.
is right or wrong.
Okay.
And in general, I am inclined to agree with freedom. But there are things that we require for a society to grow and prosper.
I agree.
have the freedom to walk into your house and take whatever I want. But
That would harm my freedom.
that would harm you personally, not even your freedom. But it would just harm you.
Mhm.
And I do think certain things, like you should be allowed to shoot me if I walked into your house and tried to steal your things.
Mhm.
Also, a freedom, like defense of your own property. That's why I'm a should person,
Okay.
right?
I'm alright with you being a should person. That's much easier to talk about, rather than facts and numbers and getting exactly the right statistics, because statistics will lie to you.
Well,
I,
yeah,
I like
but
the idea of
also, like,
discussing the
I
shoulds
think
with
that
you.
when it comes to the laws that we have and whatnot, we're talking about I've lost my train of thought. Damn it.
That's okay. It's about 1 o'clock anyway. This is about the time where we should wrap it up, because I get tired. You start to lose your train of thought. I start to forget what the hell we were talking about anyway, and I have to edit all this into videos and stuff like that, which takes the longer this is, the longer it takes me. So, uh, and that, I think, unless you wanna cap anything off.
Nope.
Okay. Freedom is my axiom, and that is the direction I'm generally going to lead to. So if your axiom would be right and wrong, then that's the direction you're leaning towards, and that's okay. That's why we keep coming to different outcomes and stuff like that, and working it out is fun, for me anyway. Uh, Hopefully, it's fun for the audience who's watching. KVP has been here all day. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. If you're watching, if you're paying attention, if you're enjoying the stream, drop a like, become a follower, make it turn a frog gay, say hello, pop into chat, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, say anything you want. If you want to watch the YouTube videos, you can do so here. And if you want to give us stories to read and look at and feel, you can do so on the Discord. Pop any story you want in there, and we will look at it and tell you what we feel about it and how we think. And that is the idea for the entire stream. My name is Waldo. Thomas, tell us your name.
Oh, I'm Thomas.
Okay, cool. And that is a stream for today. I will be back on Monday night at about 7 o'clock. We'll feel any politics that pop up on that day, and then maybe play a video game. So yeah, Monday streams usually pretty quick. We cover the headlines real quick, try and make some shorts, and then play some video games. And that is it for us today. Thanks for being here. Thanks for chatting, KVP. Everybody, have a good day. Goodbye.
Bye.